A very good afternoon and very welcome to Stormont, just outside Belfast in Northern Ireland. It's time for Game 3 of the Celtic International T20 Challenge Series. Ireland women against Scotland women, the Scottish Wildcats. The series perfectly poised at 1 apiece. After an 11-run victory in the opening game for Scotland, perhaps a bit of an upset, Ireland bounced back in the perfect fashion yesterday. Gabby Lewis and Leopold, two of the stars of the show, as the home side squared the series. It's a 4-match T20 International Series, and for the third consecutive day we've got the weather set fair and great action ahead. Just about 20 minutes ago we had Isabel Joyce, the former Ireland women's captain, out with the two captains for today's game for the toss. Let's go and see who won it and find out what they're doing.
For match 3 of the Celtic International T20 Challenge. With me in the middle, as always, I have the captains of both sides. It's Laura Delaney from Ireland and Catherine Bryce from Scotland. And match referee Phil Thompson has the coin.
Okay, and are you call, Catherine? Heads. Heads the call. And tails it is.
We'll have a bat, please.
Okay.
Laura, first of all, congratulations on a good win yesterday. You've won the toss and elected to bat first. Is that because the team batting first has won both games so far in the series?
I think it's part of that, but also it's a lovely deck and we just want to get straight back out there and hopefully put more runs on the board today.
And any team news for us?
Yeah, we have one change, so Amy Hunter comes out and Rachel Delaney comes in.
Okay, well, best of luck
Thanks,
today.
Emma. Thank you.
Catherine, if you had won the toss, would you have had a bat as well?
Yeah, I would have had a bat. I think it maybe get a bit slower kind of as it goes on in the day. But I think we've just got to hit the ground running with the ball, try and restrict them as much as possible and then bat better today. And
what was the chat in the camp yesterday about the batting so far? It hasn't kind of gone the way that you would have wanted, really.
Yeah, it's not really clicked. I think the top order have not really done the job, so we've kind of got to go out there and score the runs mainly.
Any team news for us?
Same team today.
Okay, well, best of luck.
Perfect.
So there you have it. That's the news from the middle. Ireland have won the toss and they'll have a bat.
So the news from the toss, followed up by the player profiles for the second consecutive day. Scotland women's captain Catherine Bryce calling incorrectly, losing the toss. It meant that Laura Delaney had the choice, and Laura Delaney deciding to not change the strategy that worked so well yesterday, which was to bat first, put up a good total, much more competitive total than game 1 where they struggled and failed to chase down 87. Ireland posting 137 yesterday, and it proved much too good for Scotland. The Wildcats coming up 61 runs short and really never looked in the chase after early wickets came right from the start. Andrew Leonard here in the commentary box again with you today, as I will be for all 4 of these T20Is, and delighted to be here. We've got Isabel Joyce, of course, out doing the toss, and sitting across to my right I've got Andrew Blair White. Andrew, should be set fair for a good day today. Bit of a crowd building up, almost some warmth in the sun, and a series to play for.
Yeah, it's brilliant that the series is as finely poised as it is going into this third game, one apiece, and I think Ireland will be very excited with how they played yesterday. It was a very complete performance. We're seeing already a good smattering of spectators in here today at Stormont, and I suspect it will continue to grow and grow throughout the day.
Yeah, £3 is the entry, but that £3 going towards the Cricket Ireland official charity partner, the Hope Foundation, who are doing phenomenal work out in the ongoing COVID crisis that is hitting the subcontinent and in India so particularly badly. So spectators, welcome. Come on down if you're in Stormont, East Belfast. Just £3. Like you said, there's plenty of space here to enjoy. All the outfield painted up with social distancing boxes. So here's the Scottish team huddle, and let's take a look at the Irish women's squad. That's the squad of 15. One change today, Andrew. And Amy Hunter going out of the side, Rachel Delaney coming in.
Yeah, it was good to see Rachel Delaney getting back into the side. Very useful batter. It will be interesting to see where she comes in the order. She can also bowl tidy off breaks as well. Very exciting player.
A little surprising perhaps not to see anything from Ed Joyce in terms of mass changes. Jenny Sparrow, Jay Maguire, Georgina Dempsey still yet to play in this series.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Obviously, very hard to go and change a winning formula like they found yesterday. As you can see, the Scotland women's squad on your screens now, and they've remained unchanged for the second day in a row.
Yeah, unchanged for all 3 T20Is. So Lorna Jack, Galen Watson and Ikra Farouk are still sitting out, waiting to get on the field. It's been a long wait for the return of international cricket, and even longer wait for those 3. It'll be very interesting to see if the series is going to be on the line today and tomorrow, whatever the result today, whether or not Mark Coles decides to shuffle his pack with Jack, Watson and Farouk continuing to sit out. As we saw in the first of these 4 T20Is, it's going to be Becky Glenn to open the bowling. Didn't do this yesterday, so she'll come in with her off breaks from around the wicket. Bowl just the one over in the first match.
Yeah, and it looks like they've learned from Rebecca Stokel yesterday. They've got Long On out in place already. She does like to hit straight. Rebecca Stokes, she's big long levers, powerful hitter of the ball.
Really slow through the air, and Stokel threw her shot. Yeah, Stokel, even though it wasn't as large a contribution as Lewis made, her opening partner, 10 off 7 yesterday, immediately there was signs of much more aggressive intent right from the off. Boundary in the opening over from her. She's going to get away with a powerful sweep shot. 2 fielders allowed outside the circle at this stage of the game, like all T20Is. Those 2 fielders posted at the moment, both on the leg side, Andrew. We've got a deep mid wicket and a long on, and just as I say that, long on comes into mid on, and deep square leg goes back.
Yeah, probably the sensible call. Gabby Lewis loves sweeping, loves pulling. I'd say with the pace that Glenn is bowling at, it's going to be very difficult to actually get it over the offside field, so probably a prudent enough move. Hit early over the offside, no one in the deep on the offside, so if Lewis could get it over the infield like she did here, she was always going to profit with runs, and she's going to get all the way back for 3. Really good running, good work in the deep as well. And immediate signs from Lewis, the player of the match yesterday, that she is not going to hang around, and she's going to go right from the off. Yeah, this is a very good shot, as I was mentioning. Very difficult to play that shot with the lack of pace on offer from Glenn, but she's managed to just about get enough. But a good stop on the boundary from Katie McGill to prevent a boundary. Really powerfully swept by Stokel. Tall cricketer, starting to evolve. It's still very early in her international career, but looks a bit of a find at the top of the order. Surprised maybe not to see this opening partnership change with. Some calls for Leah Paul to maybe get up there. That one's hammered over the offside. It's going to be 1 bounce and 4 mid-off in the circle. Good timing, good power from Gabby Lewis, the first boundary of match 3 of the series.
Yeah, an excellent shot from Lewis here. Glenn just missing her lengths this time round. It was full, it was too full, a little bit loopy as well, and Lewis has dispatched this over mid-off for a 1 bounce 4. Excellent from her, and a good start for Ireland again.
Lewis looks to be growing in confidence already. She would have been so nervous in match 1, like absolutely all of these players, been such a long wait, over 600 days since the T20 World Cup qualifier in Scotland back in August, September 2019, before the whole world changed. But plenty of promising signs ahead. We've got sunshine streaming across the Stormont ground, probably the biggest crowd of the 3 days so far, as I thought we might have. And it's going to be one of the stars of the show, Catherine Bryce, to open up for the Wildcats.
She's been excellent with the ball in hand so far in these 2 games. Catherine Bryce, she's led the team very well, both with ball and in the field. She's taken some excellent grabs, but it was interesting. Rebecca Stokel tried to take her on yesterday, got 1 boundary away before Bryce had her revenge, clean bowling her. So it'll be interesting to see how this matchup takes place and whether Stokel will continue to try and attack.
Yeah, Bryce probably the pick of the bowlers from a Scottish perspective. I've been impressed with the leg spin of Abtatha Maksud, and points, Priyanaz Chatterjee, Katie McGill in the wickets, of course, as well. Just straying down the leg side, going to be immediately signalled wide.
Yep, just straying down. Catherine Bryce usually does bring the ball back in to the right-hander, this time a little bit overcompensating, but you'd have to think, Andrew, on a day like today, the sun's out, it looks a day for batting conditions, and I'd say Ireland will be looking to take full advantage of that, especially in this first 6-over power play. Both Stokel and Gabby Lewis, very aggressive batters who can get the ball away.
Yeah, the 2 umpires today, Rowley Black and Alan Neal from the Irish Elite panel of ICC umpires. 3rd umpire today, Jarlath McCready. Our match referee, as in all of these games, Philip Thompson. Alan Neal standing at the city end, so he's on your screen there now, and Rowley Black across at square leg. Watchful from Lewis. We saw her probably more assured in defence, more committed to even the defensive strokes yesterday.
Yeah, I think she's been working on trying to develop her game, not dissimilar to even Paul Stirling in the men's game, trying to adapt from being that, we all know the talent she possesses, but trying to build innings and trying to build big innings for Ireland.
Just a check drive this time to mid-on in the circle. No doubt that the 4 back-to-back T20Is are going to have their toll, and that's why I'm a bit surprised to see Scotland remain unchanged for the 3rd consecutive day. Remember, as this one goes to fine leg, just a bit of a fumble will allow them to get through for a single, despite the good glove work of Sarah Bryce. But yeah, certainly with the reserve day coming into play, so with the rain on Sunday, meaning that we've ended up playing Monday, Tuesday, today, Wednesday and tomorrow, Thursday, a big ask for players to play 4 back-to-back T20Is.
Yes, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of optimism in that Scottish camp that players want to come back and prove themselves after yesterday. They'll have been disappointed with their effort all round, and a good opportunity for them to bounce back.
So watchful to close out the 2nd over. The score 12-0. Very welcome if you're joining us wherever you're watching from all the way around the world. So a little moment of history yesterday for both sides. Laura Delaney becoming Ireland women's record T20I caps holder, moving past Mary Waldron, who's down in Australia. We'll hopefully see her back on Irish shores sooner rather than later. And for Scotland, Abby Aitken-Drummond becoming the record caps holder in Scotland women's cricket in a lovely moment. I'm not sure if you saw it last night on Twitter from Cricket Scotland. Celebrations in the team hotel, some lovely messages coming in via Skype, and I think a really emotional affair for one of the great stalwarts of the Scottish women's game.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see that they appreciate how much Abby Aitken-Drummond's given over the last number of years. First capped in 2008. As it looks to be a change of bowling again, just the 1 over for Becky Glenn. Priyanaz Chatterjee coming into the attack.
Big appeal, but looking probably to be sliding down leg. Chatterjee in game 1, 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 3. Much more harshly dealt with yesterday. And a complete change in the mindset of the Irish women's batters. Yesterday her figures didn't look anything like as good. 4 overs, none for 29.
As you can see from the replay there, close enough, probably was just going down the leg side. Also could have been a little high. Probably the right call from Rowley Black, but a tight enough call. Good start from Chatterjee.
Swept really powerfully, but the immediate call from Rowley Black is that of a no ball. And the reason for the no ball is the Stephen Finn rule. Chatterjee has knocked into the stumps. She hasn't overstepped the front foot line. She's knocked the bails off at the non-striker's end. And what that means is, as Rowley Black has correctly noted it, he's got the right arm out. It means a no ball, and it's followed up with a free hit. Look at that for the free hit, taking the aerial route, so this will not be out. Even if it's taken, it's not taken anyway. And they will get back for a second. The heart's still in the mouth just for a moment of the batter there, you could see. Even the crowd, just an audible gasp as it went into the air. But yeah, wouldn't have mattered if that catch was held onto by a lister or not. End result, 2 runs to the total.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the crowd catch. And Lenny, everyone seems to almost forget, even though they've just seen the free hit being given by the umpire. But Stokel gets another 2. Not off the middle of the bat by any means, but no harm done.
Hit really strongly towards mid-off. Just a little hint of away shape from Chatterjee, but Stokel looks in a determined mood today. Good power from her.
Yeah, very good timing to start off from Rebecca Stokel. She got a few sweeps away for singles, but hitting them hard, and she's batting with an awful lot more intent now, which is brilliant. And this is her job at the top of the order, to try and get Ireland, herself and Gabby Lewis, to try and use that 6 overs as effectively as possible.
Hit towards mid-on, and I think that's carried, and it might have been put down. It just died in her, Catherine Fraser. And you can see from her body language, I think she's disappointed. I think that's a chance gone down.
Yeah, I think this is just carried to Fraser, as we'll hopefully see from the replay here. It was a low full toss from Chatterjee, Stokel bunting it away, and it looks like it's just carried there.
It has carried, but it's really died, almost curving, perhaps some spin on the ball. Followed up with a full toss, and it's so nearly gone to Fraser again, but it's gone to her left this time, and the drop is punished with a boundary. Stokel looking really effective. Back-to-back full tosses. The first one a drop chance, the second one goes for a boundary 4.
Yeah, adding insult to injury here is Rebecca Stokel. Punishing this full toss from Chatterjee away, finds the gap this time, hits it straight at Fraser at mid-on, and gets a handy boundary. And Ireland already up to 20 without loss, and it's been a good start from them.
It's more like it from Chatterjee, back on the money to close out the 3rd over. Yeah, Rebecca Stokel making her debut back in 2017. Merrion Cricket Club in Dublin. Favourite player Ben Stokes. Youthful squad, this Irish team. Outside of Laura Delaney and Shauna Kavanagh, really everyone's still very early in their international career. Maybe Gabby Lewis as well, but she's still a very young woman herself.
Yeah, I think Gabby just, it feels like she's older because she's been playing for so long, but she is still only 21 herself. Still plenty of young faces in this Irish women's side, which is great for Irish cricket, that we have the opportunity to see these women progress with international games.
That one's pumped over the leg side, and Rebecca Stokel wants 2, but Gabby Lewis decides against it. Probably the right decision. Much more aggressive approach from the Irish women this morning, as it was yesterday, this afternoon even.
Yeah, I think they were just a little bit nervy on the first day in that run chase. They've been much more like it the last 2 days.
Stokel looking to hit that one down the ground, just thuds off the inside edge. Cannons into the pad, fortune for Stokel.
I don't think the Irish coaches, Ed Joyce and his team, would be overly disappointed to see Stokel try to take those sort of shots on. She likes targeting over that mid-on, and mid-on and mid-off are in the ring.
And just to illustrate the difference in approach during this power play, on Monday, 2 days ago, Ireland women were remarkably 12 for 2 at the end of the first 6 overs. Yesterday, still 2 wickets down, 33 for 2. Gabby Lewis, 18 not out at that point. They'll be looking to get north of that 33 figure today. Towards mid-on again. Really looks to be a favoured zone of Stokel, who keeps teasing the mid-on fielder.
Yep, wasn't badly timed again from Stokel, but she is hitting these in the air, and you wonder whether she'll just relinquish another chance here. And if she does, Scotland will have to try and take it here. Already a tough chance put down at mid-on, but they'll hope that that won't cost them too much.
Finds a block hole this time. Watchful from Stokel. The bowling and fielding's been really good this week, some indifferent batting. I think with Ed Joyce being such a legendary batsman himself for the Irish men's side, arguably the best ever to wear the green of Ireland, there'd be no doubt that he'll have been working not just closely over the last 18-24 months whilst waiting to get back onto the pitch, but working really determinedly with the side after that disappointing performance on Monday.
Yeah, so I think, as I said in a couple of overs ago, you could probably put that down to a little bit of nerves, a bit of ring rustiness as well. But I think you're seeing now a complete changing in philosophy in terms of the batting that I think is being employed here by Ed Joyce. Something we've seen over the last number of years in white ball cricket, most notably with Owen Morgan coming into that English setup, and this ideology that you want to keep attacking and keep going at it, and as a result you will get days where you don't score many runs, that it just doesn't work out and you're all out for not that many. But you want to see batters continue to go at bowlers, and that's the only way you're going to end up scoring big scores. And I think in women's cricket, when you can get on to that 130, 140 score, you're well and truly in the game a lot of the time.
The change of bowling this time, it's going to be Katie McGill into the attack for the first time. Player of the match on Monday for her all-round effort with bat and ball, and thought she looked particularly impressive with the bat yesterday.
Yeah, she's had a very good series so far. Katie McGill should be looking to keep it up again here. She's taken wickets, scored valuable runs as well.
This one hit into the leg side, going to be plenty of time to get through for a single. Megan McCall will do the fielding. Yeah, 3 of this Scotland women's team already signed up in the 100. That's Sarah and Catherine Bryce, joined by the leg spin of Tatha Maksud, who very nearly didn't put her name in for the 100 draft. All of those players able to play as local players within the English system. Something you think that the scouts from the 8 franchise sides will be keeping an eye on this series, not just for the Scotland players, but maybe some of the better Irish women maybe in the mix for an overseas slot?
Yeah, I think they'll 100% be having a look at these series, having a look at the likes of Gabby Lewis, Orla Prendergast, Lara Moritz, these sort of young players, hungry, aggressive players as well. That's exactly what they're looking for.
It's a lovely shot. Hit strongly into the leg side, but good work from Megan McCall, who's going to not just cut off the boundary but prevent the Irish batters getting back for 2. Yeah, I think Gabby Lewis in particular, maybe Orla Prendergast, might be in the mix for benefiting from what some of the Irish men benefited from last summer. COVID making it much more difficult for players to get in from Australia, New Zealand, any of the other major cricketing nations for short-term stints. As that one's hammered through the offside. The shot of the day so far, over pitched from McGill. And that is the power that Rebecca Stokel possesses, over pitched, but all the way along the ground this time, not taking the aerial route through the offside. That's a glorious shot for 4.
Yeah, extremely good timing here from Stokel. Over pitch from McGill, as you say, but to be able to pierce that gap with a shot of that nature is a hard enough feat, and Stokel's done it with consummate ease.
We had a few comments on social media about why the boundary's out so much. That would have gone to any boundary. Kept going. Hit into the offside again, picking the same gap, but this time aerially. Going to be work to do for Priyanaz Chatterjee, who'll combine with Abtatha Maksud and keep it to just 2 runs. But yeah, the boundaries certainly today in particular in maybe 5 or 10 yards. I think they were maybe a little bit of an oversight to have them out that far in game 1.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit ambitious, but they're in at respectable rates here. And also the outfield has quickened up throughout the week. Obviously it's been a dry week since the massive downpour on Sunday that we were here to witness, but it looks prime batting conditions at the moment. Sunny day, pitch is good, and fast outfield.
Yeah, it could be in for the record power play score of the week as well. Ireland very well set. 5 overs gone, score 30 for none. We're going to see one of those 3 Scotland players who will appear in the 100 later this summer. Abtatha Maksud with her leg breaks. I've been really impressed with her control in particular. Always a good sign for a leg spinner when they're so naturally flicking the ball from right hand to left like that. She's bowling from the right end, the city end. Starts with a full toss and greeted with the reverse sweep and well pammed onto the stumps by Maksud, but safely home is Lewis for a single.
Yeah, I've been extremely impressed by Becky Glenn in at backward point all week for the Scottish women's side. Looks a real live wire in there. Took a good catch yesterday to get rid of Laura Delaney, also affecting a few near run-out opportunities. And as you said a couple of overs ago, I've been very impressed by the fielding on show.
Big appeal, and that's going to be the first wicket. You always take a risk with the sweep shot to get a long way down, Stokel. But Abtatha Maksud was convinced that was straight enough to go on and hit the stumps. Alan Neal was convinced as well. Let's take a look at the replay. Was this adjacent enough? If you miss the sweep, you can be in trouble. Certainly pitched in line. Looks like it's hit in line. I think if the DRS was in, that would be 3 reds. That is out.
Yep, I think Alan Neal's got that completely right. Rebecca Stokel sweeping across the line there. Good bowling from Maksud. Probably did her a little bit in the flight of that delivery. Excellent leg spin bowling. But another good start from Rebecca Stokel. Certainly plenty of positives to take.
So often leg spinners get their wickets, maybe not necessarily with the spin, but with the drift. And it's a perfect example of that there. She's bowling from the correct end of the ground today. She bizarrely was used from the Dundonald end of the ground yesterday, the opposite end, with the prevailing wind coming across your screen from right to left. So her natural drift, the turn of the ball, has drifted it into the right-hander, deceived Stokel, beaten the sweep shot, trapped her right in front. Good decision for my money. Alan Neal gets the finger up, and that's the breakthrough that Scotland so sorely needed. The change has worked.
You know, they've probably brought in Abtatha Maksud for this last over the power play to see whether she could force a breakthrough. A very good opening partnership for Ireland of 31 after 5 overs of this mandatory 6 over power play. But that wicket could well just stem the flow of runs a little bit. Irish captain Laura Delaney comes to the crease.
Delaney not afraid to use her feet. Now the record caps holder for T20 international cricket for Ireland. Her debut all the way back in 2010. The 28-year-old. Has been involved for a long time. Been outstanding in the field all week. Done some good stuff with the ball, but probably just a little shy of the run she'd have liked.
Yeah, she's looked at just a little bit rusty with the bat. Laura, I'd say she'd admit that herself. But no better chance batting at number 3 where she should be batting for Ireland to try and get stuck in and get some runs on the board today.
Really good line that from Maksud, and one of the rare misfields we've seen from Becky Glenn will allow Delaney to get off the mark.
Yep, nice strong shot from Laura Delaney. We saw her get out cutting yesterday without troubling the scores, but that will just ease a few nerves, I'd say, for the Irish captain. Nice to get one away, especially with a nicely timed shot.
See some blankets needed in the crowd in the background there. It's beautiful when the sun's out, but when it's not, it is a bit fresh still. That's a reverse sweep and really well played by Gabby Lewis. That's an outstanding shot. Right on top of the bounce, getting over the ball, no one behind square on the offside, so it was always going to be 4 if it beat Becky Glenn, which it does. Super batting, and we've got the record power play score of the week so far. Ireland moved to 36 for 1 after 6.
Yeah, excellent from Lewis, and probably a sign of where she is with her game at the moment. We saw her fail a couple of times trying to play that reverse sweep yesterday. She's getting into a much better position, her head over the ball while playing that shot, and when there's nobody backward of square on the offside, it's a boundary option, certainly off the leg spinner.
So a good start for Ireland. First change in the commentary box. I'll pass over to Isabel Joyce.
Yeah, as we can see, Laura Delaney there, the incoming batter. Favourite player Alyssa Healy made her international debut 11 years ago against New Zealand. As we see a change of bowling from the Dundonald end, Catherine Fraser coming into the attack.
And again, Catherine Fraser bowling probably from the correct end today. Bowled from the City end yesterday and struggled compared to the first day, so she'll be glad to be back from the right end from her point of view. Down the track straight away from Delaney, uppish into the covers, but manages not to get caught today. I'd say her heart was in her mouth for a minute there.
Yeah, but it's good to see her already using her feet a lot, trying to play with an awful lot of intent here. And as we saw yesterday with Shauna Kavanagh's rope, playing that little foil to Gabby Lewis, I think at this stage, with Lewis seeing the ball as well as she is, it's just a matter of trying to get her back on strike.
Lewis goes for the reverse again. They do appeal, but umpire Rowley Black didn't look like he was even considering that. It's well bowled by Catherine Fraser. It seemed to see that Gabby Lewis was coming down looking for the reverse. She just put that one in a little bit more flat and down the leg side. Shorter again. Good shot from Delaney. The word is that she's been playing really, really well coming up until now. Had a little bit of an injury for the few weeks before this series, but she was expected to score a lot of runs in this series, so she'll want to put right what's gone wrong in the last couple of days.
I don't think it can happen to anyone, especially in T20 cricket. 2 small scores.
That shuffle down, through and gone. The quick gloves of Sarah Bryce strike again. You can't give her a second. You can't give her a chance. That's the big wicket. Gabby Lewis goes for 16.
Yeah, and you can see from the Scottish women's reaction how big a wicket this is. It's excellent bowling from Catherine Fraser. Good guile, good dip on this, and it's just gone past the outside edge actually of Gabby Lewis's bat, perhaps playing inside.
Yeah, I think she is actually caught behind. The appeal going to standing umpire Rowley Black, who gave the decision. Obviously here we couldn't hear that there was an edge, but just to make sure, Sarah Bryce took the bails, but Gabby Lewis looking back at Rowley Black to see if he'd given her out caught behind, and which he did. So you can't be out twice, but they gave themselves 2 chances at the 2 bites of the apple. Gabby Lewis and Rebecca Stokel both dismissed for 16. They did give Ireland a good start, but a lot of work yet to do for the captain Laura Delaney and the incoming Shauna Kavanagh.
I think that's one of the most bizarre instances I've seen in a long time, where I think both umpires have actually given it out at the exact same time. I think Rowley Black, the standing umpire, as you so rightly mentioned, Isabel, has given it out caught behind, but I had my eyes over at Alan Neal at square leg, and he had his finger up as well.
So unfortunately for Sarah Bryce, it only goes down as 1 dismissal. Well bowled again from Catherine Fraser. Shauna Kavanagh kind of half playing at that and then deciding to leave it alone.
I was really impressed with Shauna yesterday. Thought it was an excellent innings, getting into the 30s, played with a lot of common sense.
Onto the back foot and happy to take the single again. So a fruitful over for Scotland. That's the end of the 7th. Ireland moved to 40 for 2.
I think the key here for Scotland is to try and really squeeze now, having got the wickets about Stokel and Gabby Lewis. Plenty of people watching the live stream right now, up near the 10,000 mark, so we really hope you are enjoying the coverage brought to you by HBV Studios in conjunction with Cricket Ireland. And of course, we'd love you to get in touch with us. If you do so, please go and get in touch. Tell us where you're watching this game on Twitter and Facebook at Cricket Ireland, and on Instagram at cricket_Ireland. We'd absolutely love to hear from you.
Yes, of course, spectators are allowed in the ground up here in Stormont. The rules are slightly different up here to down south, so if you are in the area, feel free to come down and watch live. But we're very happy to be able to bring you this live stream if you are at home. So leg spinner Abdul Maksud continues. Full toss this time, just dips at the last second. Shauna Kavanagh somewhat stuck in the crease on that occasion.
As I say, with the leg spin and off spin on here, it'd be interesting to see whether Scotland can really squeeze these two new batters.
It's on the sweep immediately for Kavanagh. It peels, mix up, run out opportunity, and it's all happening. So Kavanagh missed that one. It hit her pad, the peel came in, then she went for a run, was sent back by Delaney, and just about managed to get in.
Yeah, it's good bowling again from Maksud. She was probably a long way down there. Shauna Kavanagh not given by Alan Neil, but she was trying to scamper through for a leg by, rightly turned back by Laura Delaney. Very sharp work from Sarah Bryce yet again behind the stumps.
Goes onto the back foot and into the covers for a single. Yeah, an interesting field they have for Shauna Kavanagh. They've got a 45 in play, forward square on the one, and then a square leg on the boundary. That field will change now for Laura Delaney. They do have a 45, a deep backward square, but they've got a deep mid wicket as well, and regular mid wicket coming in. Flatter and hit into the offside strongly from Delaney. Good to see that she's not afraid to play the cut shot after falling to it yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's one of her stronger shots. It's good to see her keeping on backing her skills and her ability. It's timing them very nicely out to the cover sweeper.
This time hit square, and really good fielding on the boundary. That's Lorna Jack. She's on for an injury at the moment. Megan McCall having some treatment on the sideline. But yeah, really good placement from Kavanagh. Just played that one a little bit later, so I had to force the boundary fielder to come around and make a really good diving save. Sweep again. A really good over from Abdul Maksud. These two spinners really doing the job. End of 8, and Ireland moved to 44 for 2.
Yeah, excellent piece of bowling there from Abdul Maksud, just taking all the pace out of that delivery. Very hard to sweep as a result.
Yeah, it's really good to see that they've obviously been talking every evening about new plans to players they might not have seen before. I mean, they know Shauna Kavanagh, but she wouldn't have batted as high in previous series against Scotland, and they clearly know what their plan is against her, and they're able to execute a really high level of bowling. Catherine Fraser returning from the Dundonald end. Edged, and too thick an edge for Sarah Bryce this time. It won't make it all the way to the boundary, and Kavanagh happy to just run too. Didn't see her do her usual in and out.
Yeah, no, it's been excellent bowling from Fraser. I've been so impressed. Just 16 years of age. Looks to have great control on her off breaks for a girl of her age. She's got good flight, good guile. Seems to know her bowling inside and out.
Yeah, you can almost see her going through the various deliveries in each over, can't you? Flighting it, then the flatter one, an arm ball. Not afraid to toss the ball up. Down the track, over mid-on. That one's gone high and handsome. That's gone all the way. It's the first maximum. Nope. Rowley Black says no. It looked like a maximum to us. I'm assured by our cameraman that it is 6, but it's been given as 4, and what the umpire says is what really matters. So unfortunately for Laura Delaney, it's just a boundary and not a maximum.
It's quite clearly a 6 to us here. It was right in front of us in the commentary position. It was a brilliant shot from Laura Delaney, and it has been changed by standing umpire Rowley Black. A real brilliant shot from Laura Delaney, probably her first real shot in anger throughout the entirety of this series.
Looks to work it into the leg side, but just takes the shoulder of the bat. She's managed to push mid-on back to long on now with that attacking shot. She's tried it on a number of occasions over the past 3 days. That's the first time she's really got hold of it. Good to see she's continuing with what she's been training over the winter. Flighted again, driven through the covers this time. That's a beautiful shot by Delaney. Absolutely smashed that along the ground and over the rope. That's 4 runs.
Yeah, brilliant this from Delaney, really putting the pressure back on the young off spinner Catherine Fraser, who continuing to toss the ball up, and Laura Delaney needing no second invitation to use her feet, brilliantly driving that square of Abta Maksood at extra cover. Another boundary.
Flatter this time, well worked into the leg side by Delaney, and that's excellent batting from her. 11 runs in 3 balls. She really looks like she's hitting her straps now. A really good over for Ireland. That's the 9th one got down, and it's 57 for 2. So that's just a real good example, Andrew, of sticking to your strengths even if they haven't paid off maybe in 1 or 2 games. Laura Delaney struggled coming down the wicket, but she knows that's her best attack of especially spin, and she's stuck with those tactics.
Yep, I think it's brilliant from the Irish captain, and brilliant to see her in the runs here today and looking so fluent at the crease. We all know Laura's got all the ability to score a lot of runs, and it's good to see her up at this number 3 position, taking that captain's initiative.
Slower from Abtaha Maksood, and Laura Delaney thinks better of coming down the track. I think it would have been the right option actually, but perhaps she just felt like she hadn't got going quick enough. If you're not sure, you're best staying in your crease with Sarah Bryce behind the stumps. Down this time, kind of clubs that one back to the bowler. You can see the intent there from the Irish skipper, not happy to let others shine too much ahead of her. She's very competitive, likes to score a lot of runs, and it's a good attribute for a top order batter. Slower from Maksood, and she gets her woman. She knew that Delaney might come down again. She held it back in her hand a little bit. Delaney came down one too many times, and that's the end of the Irish captain.
Yeah, this is incredibly good bowling from Abta Maksood. Knowing her game inside and out, she's actually given this even more air. She's tempted Laura Delaney. She said, go on, try and hit me over the top, mid on and mid off in the ring. Laura Delaney's taken the bait, and Sarah Bryce, as we've seen throughout this week, isn't going to make a mistake behind the stumps. And Abta Maksood, she was pumped up after that. She knows well that was a good piece of bowling, good plan executed, and the leg spinner's taken her second today.
Yeah, the spinner's really doing a job for Scotland today. Slightly worrying for Ireland is that their 3 batters so far have all got into the teens, all looked good, and then got out to a spinner each. 16, 16 and 17, the 3 scores so far, as Orla Prendergast joins Shauna Kavanagh. She played a good hand yesterday, and she'll want to repeat what she did then again. A bit more time today, so chance to score a few more runs.
Yeah, she's a very talented young player, Orla Prendergast, with both bat and ball. But Scotland are doing well here. They're just stemming the momentum. Every time Ireland look to be getting away, they're taking that crucial wicket.
Yeah, you can see Scotland are up and about here, can't you? A really good ball from Abtaha Maksood, just bowled flatter. Orla Prendergast going on the back foot and almost just inside edging it onto her stumps. Onto the back foot again, pulled this time in between those 2 fielders in the deep. It's a good piece of fielding in the deep there. I think it's Ailsa Lister, her 3rd game today, but 2 runs for Orla Prendergast and off the mark.
Yep, good shot from Prendergast there. Maxud just a little bit short, taking full advantage of that, pulling it out between the fielders, managing to scamper back for 2. Good batting.
Just looks a little bit caught in the crease, doesn't she, Prendergast? Not sure whether to come forward or back. So 10th over gone, a wicket in it for Scotland. Just the 3 runs for Ireland. Apologies, 2 runs for Ireland. And they're 59 for 3 at the halfway mark. So these two will enjoy batting together. Both very good runners between the wickets. Like to turn 1s into 2s. I think Prendergast looked a little bit frustrated yesterday with some of the running that was going on at the end of the game. So she'll enjoy batting with Kavanagh.
Yep, it looks like Scotland are going to make another change in the bowling here. Katie McGill's going to come back into the attack. McGill's had a canny knack all week of being a bit of a golden arm, as you can see from the Irish women's scorecard there. As you said, Isabel, Ed Joyce will be happy that they're playing with good intent. He won't be happy that plenty of starts and no conversions.
Yeah, it just starts looking a bit one-paced, doesn't it? As soon as they start going, the 3 batters that are out, they don't recognise when they should maybe take a single, to nearly attacking too much. You can see from the 2 stumps that the batters just tempting them out and holding the pace off. And Katie McGill from the Dundonald end. That's well played from Kavanagh. Doesn't go through too far with the shot, so manages to get it between short third man and backward point. And that's 2 to her score.
Yeah, as you say there, it's a very hard balancing act there, because you don't want to get into a situation like we saw on Monday, where you're almost stagnating at the crease, but at the same stage hitting those aggressive shots and then getting out for starts is equally frustrating as a coach.
That's a good length from Katie McGill, not allowing Kavanagh to free her arms. Yeah, I think that just comes with game time, doesn't it? Recognising how to change your tempo, when to attack, when to give kind of points to the bowler and just maybe take a single. You can already see both teams improving though after just 2 games. Played into the leg side, called through for a single. I think that's the way they should play these two. Very hard to run 2 very quick batters out if you both leave immediately as the ball is hit.
Yeah, I think there's even a game management situation there when you know that somebody like Maxud is bowling as well as she is, with the rhythm she is, that maybe you're trying to actually almost just milk her for 4 or 5 and over and take your chances off maybe some of the other bowlers.
Nicely played from Prendergast, but that fielder looks to have moved behind the square end point, so good fielding from her. Mid-on goes out. The other fielders out at the moment are cover, deep square and deep mid-wicket. The defensive field to the new batter. And again goes to that point fielder, a wild throw, but Catherine Bryce backs up well. So bowling to her field here, Katie McGill. She has good protection over on the offside. That cover field is quite square, and then backward point and short third man.
Yeah, tight lines from McGill with the keeper up to the stumps can be hard to play against, especially as a new batter, like Orla Prendergast is.
Once again finding that point fielder. So really good over from Katie McGill. It's the end of the 11th, just 3 from it. Ireland 62 for 3. So this is a really important stage in the game. The overs between kind of 7 and 13 are where a lot of games are lost, from just the fielders going out and looking for boundaries when perhaps looking for singles and 2s would be better.
Yeah, having a look there at the Scottish women's bowling figures, Apta Maxud by far the pick here, 2 for 12 from 3 overs. But it doesn't look like she's going to bowl her 4th over, which I would have thought as a coach you'd be looking to try and bowl her out and try to take another wicket. We're going to see Megan McCall into the attack from the City end of the ground. Isabel, just as a coach, when you've got a bowler who's taken 2 for 12, and if if you took another wicket here, took Shauna Kavanagh or Orla Prendergast, it could be a game-changing dismissal.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's the captain, I guess, who's going to be deciding, because she's the one calling the shots on the pitch. But I actually would probably do the same as her. If these two get going, you want to be able to bring back your strike bowler to break up a strong partnership. So Megan McCall, first bowl for her. And a good start, a plain miss from Kavanagh. So yeah, just if these two do get going, you want to be able to turn to your strike bowler and say, right, I need you to get me a wicket now. Right now, Scotland kind of on top. So good time to bring in a bowler for her first bowl of the series. And Ireland won't know much about this bowler either, so they won't have game plans to her yet, and that's good thinking from Sarah Bryce.
Yeah, it's been a good start as well from McCall. Being bang on the money, looks to be nice little medium pace again. Keep her up to the stumps, kind of skidding it through a little bit on this surface as well.
Yeah, just having a bit of trouble, Kavanagh. Nothing too much happening there. She just doesn't seem to be choosing the right line at the moment. And that kind of frustration, we might see her try something a little bit different. Might see her trying to sweep at the field again, set for that shot. And onto the back foot this time. Body language not looking too flash there from Kavanagh.
Yeah, we're seeing quite clever little small changes in pace here from McCall. Certainly from the naked eye looked like a little bit of an off-cutter there. It's an interesting field this, with square leg and fine leg in the ring, trying to actually get Shauna Kavanagh to hit that sweep shot.
And there she does. There is a fielder on the boundary in between those two close infielders, you mentioned those, so just the single for her. So really good over from McCall here. Just the one from it so far, with one to come.
Yeah, just needs to finish out her over here, McCall. Been excellent so far. Interesting field that was. Square leg and fine leg in the ring, and also a deep square leg out that I'd missed actually.
And a great finish to the over from McCall. Her team really appreciative of miserly over, just the one from it. Ireland moving to 63 for 3. And with that field, Andrew, it's not the first time they've said it for Shauna today, Shauna Kavanagh. It's just a case of knowing the player and really blocking out that scoring option. She's swept really well all week, so now they've said, right, we know you can sweep to pretty much anyone, and we're going to just make sure you can't score many runs from it, and they're forcing her to try and find other scoring areas. I think it's a really good preparation from Scotland.
And we saw there Kavanagh trying to even hit that cut shot instead, which she was failing to get away in that previous over. But McGill continuing from the Dundonald end of the ground. She was tight enough in her previous over as well, and good squeeze being applied here by the Scottish bowlers.
Down on the knee again, kind of sweep pull in front of square. Orla Prendergast in and out very quickly. That was always two. Really good running from the Irish pair.
Yeah, good shot from Kavanagh in front of square there. McCall doing the fielding on square leg boundary, but Orla Prendergast always wanted two there. These two so quick between the stumps, there's never going to be any issues.
In the air over mid-wicket, same area and same result. Oh, I apologise, not the same result, just the one. Or Prendergast decided she wouldn't take on the throw of Catherine Bryce. There's a nice little chip there from Kavanagh.
Yep, it was nicely played, nicely dinked into a gap there, and Prendergast potentially taking the right option to not take on Bryce. So you see mid-on come into the ring now for Prendergast, maybe trying to hit over the top like she does like to do so. We saw her get caught at mid-on Monday's game.
Yeah, inviting her to play a shot over the top. Good attacking captaincy this from Bryce. She does hit straight to that area, calls through, taking on the fielder. Bit of a fumble, so an easy single for Prendergast. You called it. She went into the area. She just didn't hit it well enough to pick out the fielder.
She does strike me as the type of batter that has no fear, really. Orla Prendergast, she wants to take bowlers on. She wants to play kind of carefree strokes and bat plenty aggressively as well.
A leading edge from Kavanagh. The fielder probably on the heels, looking to the leg side, thinking that was where the ball was going, but an easy single in the end for Kavanagh, even if it wasn't where she meant to go. And I really like that type of batting. Doesn't matter how well you hit it, it's about getting down the other end.
Exactly. Well, we've seen in this over, they've already scored 5 runs from 4 deliveries without really any type of risk as well, and that just can slowly accumulate, especially with just 7 overs to go.
Nicely played by Prendergast, but good fielding and extra cover. That's Abta Maqsood doing the job for her bowler there. Always good when you can get your fielders backing you up.
Yeah, very smart fielding by Maqsood there, trying to keep this squeeze on from Scotland. They could do with a wicket here. They've bowled very well in the last 3 or 4 overs in a little spell here, but they deserve a wicket for the pressure they've began to implement on the Irish batters.
Goes aerial. Doesn't hit it well enough to be caught at long off. And a strange shot selection considering the field there, long off and long on. But she survives, Orla Prendergast. That's the end of the 13th, and that's the end for now of Andrew Blair-White as we say goodbye until the second innings for him. Welcome back the beanie, short sleeve t-shirt and Andrew Leonard.
Not a great outfit today as it is. Looking nowhere near as resplendent as you are, as always. Great to see it is, and we are in the course of a really gripping third T20I. The match is very evenly balanced.
Yeah, it's kind of the case of Irish batters showing a little bit more stickability than they did on Monday, a bit more grit. It's been hard. Scotland have bowled well, but they've found a way to get singles and score boundaries on occasions. But the big thing is Scotland keep coming back and taking wickets. So Megan McCall for her second over. Shuffles down from Orla Prendergast. That's a shot that we've seen before. A beautiful one. 2 bounces and over the rope.
A shot of real class, real authority from an incredibly talented young woman. Just a hop, skip and a jump down the track. Never tried to overhit it at any point. That's the key to this shot. And goes towards the ball. Look at her body position down the wicket towards the ball, not going outside leg stump. Holds her shape perfectly, clears the fielder inside the circle, 4 runs all the way. What a shot that is.
This time goes leg side, doesn't quite get it as well. Fumble from the fielder though, and Kavanagh decides to take on the throw. That's great running from the top order Ireland batter, really aware of the field.
She's quick, isn't she? Shauna Kavanagh between the wickets, hit into the leg side. Just this little cameo from Prendergast starting to show real promise. Both Kavanagh and Prendergast combining nicely together.
Well bowled this time from McCall. Question asked and given. Rowley Black says that's smart work from Sarah Bryce behind the stumps. Orla Prendergast just lifting her heel, and her budding innings comes to an end.
It does come to an end, and it comes to an end purely because of the brilliance of Sarah Bryce. This is outstanding. The foot was only outside for just a second, but I think it's the right decision as well. You could see the regret there from Orla Prendergast. Lightning fast hands. We've always been talking about Sarah Taylor and just how good she is with the gloves behind the stumps. What about that from Sarah Bryce? As good as it gets.
Yeah, it's a real positive to have a wicketkeeper of that class in your team. Just adds about 20% to your fielding performance. You can see her moving the fielders around as well. Really understands angles as a top order batter. So she really adds a huge amount to the Scotland team. It's Lara Moritz who is now coming into the crease as Ireland are 75 for 4. And she's really come on a long way with her batting the last 12 or 18 months, and think she's relishing getting her chance in the middle order.
Yeah, she's provided good entertainment as well. Diminutive in stature, but full of heart and plays with a big smile on her face. Gets into some funny positions like we were talking about yesterday, but does hit it hard when she gets it away nicely. Big roll for her.
Edged, and that one's flying away. The outfield's quickened up so much. A boundary off the first ball for Moritz.
Yeah, nowhere where she was looking to hit it, Isabel, but how often do we see that? The slip not in place for the new batter. Maybe it should have been, because I reckon this would have gone straight to first slip pretty much. Yeah, it would have. No chance for Sarah Bryce, even with the magical gloves that she holds and possesses. Moritz gets away with the boundary for.
Drives strongly, gets it between the two fielders. 2 balls, 2 boundaries for Moritz.
Yeah, what a start for Laura Moritz. This time much more authoritative, again through the offside, but in front to square, beats the dive of Catherine Bryce at extra cover, just a little bit over pitch, but again gets into a funny position. You think naturally that might be whipped into the leg side, but opens up her body, gets it through the offside. Really good shot.
Well, that time down the leg side. We've noticed over the last 2 days, Andrew, that Moritz struggles outside off stump, so someone not passing the message on to Megan McCall. It's her first time bowling in the series. You're best off bowling outside, well outside off stump to Moritz, because she is so strong when the ball is bowled straight. In the air and taken. A great catch by Abta Maksud. It was pyrotechnics from Lara Moritz. All action, but she couldn't survive to get that one over the rope. And another wicket for Scotland. That's 5 down now for Ireland. Lara Moritz goes for 8.
Really good catch. Long off had gone out after the boundary. Maksud takes a good catch down at long off, but what a remarkable over. 2 wickets and 15 runs coming from it. Not too often you'd see that. Really is a cameo from Moritz. 8 from 3 deliveries. She falls. Boundaries off her first and second delivery. Wide followed up, and she's out off her third. So quite literally all happening here in the third T20I. But those runs are important. Yeah, Joyce won't be happy with the fact that she's fallen. Quick runs will bring Leopold into the crease.
Yeah, I think Leopold, very different batter to Moritz, tends to accumulate runs. So if Leopold can stay in for the remainder of the innings, then those 3 balls could be very valuable for Ireland. A quick 9 or 10, always welcome to any total in T20 cricket. So good over for McCall in some ways and not so good in others, as you mentioned, but she's taken 2 wickets so far. That over went for 15, so Ireland now on 84 for 5.
It's funny, in innings like that from Moritz, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you'd have been criticised all over the place. But actually now, so often wickets left in the bank. Little cameo, just providing a spark to the run rate, does bring Leopold to the crease at number 7.
Off spinner Catherine Fraser back into the attack and pull straight off the mark with a cut shot into the offside. Yeah, I think these two as well, they'll enjoy batting together, both like to run well. So not the worst thing in the world that Moritz went in and just whacked a few boundaries and then headed back out. Her work done.
A little bit like Sunil Narayan so often does at the top of the order. It's an impact innings. Rather than having 4 or 5 dots, then hitting a boundary, then getting out. Hit 2 boundaries, try to hit a third. You're gone. Jeffrey Boycott wouldn't have liked it too much, but it's a new game, it's a modern game these days.
Down the track. It doesn't hit it very well, but that's okay. It's fallen short of mid-off. Really had nothing going for it, that shot, but the single.
Yeah, just want to quickly touch on Sarah Bryce again, the keeper behind the stumps. 4 stumpings, equaling her own world record that she set 18 months prior in the first game. 2 stumpings and a catch today. Magnificent with the gloves.
That's a really deft touch from Leopold behind square on the offside. It'll be an easy 2. And really smart play from her. She doesn't possess the power some of the others have, Leopold, but she has all the brains. Yeah, Sarah Sarah Bryce with 3 stumpings already and 6 overs yet to go, so she'll be eyeing up 5 stumpings, I think.
Well, is it 2 stumpings and a catch, or is it 3 stumpings? Because I think that one might have been given out caught behind, wasn't it?
It was. I apologise. I wrote it down as stumped before I...
Well, Cricinfo still have it as stumped, so
Okay.
we might need to get that checked. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it came off a small outside edge. Really good catch behind the stumps. But either way, 7 dismissals for her already
Yep.
in the series.
No, it definitely was a caught behind because Rolly Black gave it out, and that's the one that stands, the first decision. Leopold considering taking on Sarah Bryce, but it's probably a good decision not to. She's having a good game. And Fraser's having a good game as well. She's bowled at real control. So young, but has such good control over the ball. And that's the kind of medium pace shot that we were talking about, that they need to get out of their systems as the 15th over ends, and Ireland moved to 85 for 5 overs to go. That's Leopold, another Ben Stokes fan.
Seen plenty of Ben Stokes fans going around, men's and women's cricket. Yeah, critical last 5 overs now, there's no doubt. 88 for 5, Ireland will be looking to get up north of that 120 figure again, posting 137 yesterday. Speaking about a critical 5 overs as the sun starts to blaze across the ground, time for my beanie to come off. Here is critical over. Abtatha Maksood has been the pick of the bowlers. She's going to bowl her final over.
Shimmies down, Kavanagh hits that very straight. Maksood gets a hand to it though, so she prevents the boundary. Good fielding from her, good shot though. It's a good cricket all round. Interesting to see now how Leopold plays Maksood. Really good on the sweep, but we haven't seen much of it from her when she's played in her Ireland green. So I hope she's confident enough to take on the pick of the bowlers, as you say, so far today.
One more line for you on Sarah Bryce. I'm going to stop raving about her in a moment. 23 T20 internationals, 36 dismissals already, 22 stumpings and 14 catches. Not too often you see more stumpings than catches for a keeper.
No, incredible stuff. Well, I mean, you can see from the attack that they have that it's more likely to be stumpings than catches. Straight on the sweep from Paul, goes backward of square. She's having a look around, deciding whether she'll take on the fielder. Decides against it, and it's a good decision in the end.
Amazing that she can stand up to almost all of the Scotland attack as well, whether it's the medium pace bowlers or the spinners. She's very comfortable up to the stumps, looks really agile. Good keeper in your side. I always remember going through my tutoring courses, they always say love your keeper. They're the most person in the team who's going to get your side around. So important.
Down on one knee from Kavanagh, but picks out the fielder. So quick between the wickets though, so she gets home safely. And they have a very interesting field set for Kavanagh. We were just discussing it before you came on, Andrew. I think it's really smart from the captain and coach.
A huge amount of analysis done these days in all international cricket, and they'll clearly have done their work on Kavanagh. It's a very unique field. You don't see it too often in T20I, but Kavanagh looking to go to the sweep almost all the time. Pembroke wicket-keeper batsman does get through for the single.
Sweep again from Paul, gets this one better, but the fielder has come behind even further at square, so just another single for her. Just going back to Sarah Bryce, last time I'll talk about this in this innings, but
it's a Sarah Bryce show.
Yeah,
here,
it is exactly. But I think the fact that she can stand up to almost all the bowlers just shows the control that they're bowling with, and shows the improvement of the Scotland team. Both Ireland and Scotland's bowling attacks really improving in the last 20 months. Down the track again from Kavanagh. She picks out long off. A bit misfield though, and Leopold didn't run that one hard enough. A rare mistake in the running for her. So final ball of Abtatha Maksood's spell. Full toss this time. Paul gets it between the two fielders looking for her first boundary, but it's good fielding by Becky Glenn, and Katie McGill tidies it up. So 2 to finish the over, 16 gone. Ireland 95 for 5.
Yeah, no third wicket for Abtatha Maksood. She was certainly searching for it and looking for it, but Leopold looks really comfortable in that sweep shot, just as Kavanagh does. Let me ask you a little about this 100 competition coming up later in the summer. Ireland obviously a test nation now, so the women, just like the men, would need to be treated as overseas players. But Do you think perhaps maybe a window with the COVID pandemic, international travel of a long distance certainly more difficult, and some of the franchises maybe be looking at the likes of Gabby Lewis or Ola Prendergast maybe as a replacement player?
Well, you would hope they would, but unfortunately the way that it works with overseas players, you have to have done it against the host nation usually for them to select you. So they'll rate you if you score 50 against England or 100 even, or take wickets against them. If you don't, then they're unlikely to notice you. So difficult for Irish players to get seen, considering we don't really play England ever. But hopefully they're having a look here and they consider them, because there is what a grab that almost was in square leg. It's the same fielder, Catherine Bryce. She took a screamer on day one, diving to her right, and she had another opportunity to almost better that.
I think it would have bettered it. It would have been an absolute specky. Diving full length, did really well to even get to it, to be honest. I was slightly obscured by one of our camera men, so I didn't see it live. Trying to bring you the replay, not going to be able to do that right now. We'll have a look back on our screens in a second.
Good pace bowled by Fraser there. Leopold has a bit of an unusual kind of front foot. What's it called? The front foot.
The forward press.
Press, that's it. The forward press. You don't see
Trigger
that
movement.
much anymore. Comes down the track, comes across it. It's a top edge chance for Megan McCall. She doesn't make a mistake. Good catch from her. She's having a good day. So is Catherine Fraser. And that's the end of Paul.
Moments after Kavanagh was dropped in what looked like an impossible grab, a much easier chance. Leopold just not quite possessing the power down the ground, coming across it, scooping up a simple catch for mid-on to run across. And this game really feels like it's in the balance. It's ebbing and flowing. Ireland would want to be careful. 6 wickets down now. Just a hint of trouble. Need to find up a way to get north of 120. Going to be Rachel Delaney in at number 9, or number 8 even, into the team today. Just the one change for either side so far. A bit surprising, is it?
Yeah, it's a funny one for Scotland. They've bowled well, so if there are any bowlers on the sideline, they're not getting in. And none of the batting has really fired, so you don't know who to drop if there are batters on the sideline. So it's a tough one for the squad members not getting a game. And then for Ireland, it's just a case of an off spinner coming in, Rachel Delaney, who's not facing now. Kavanagh goes high and handsome. That's a huge 6. She clears the tents. That shows you the power she possesses, and that brings up the 100 for Ireland. What a shot from Kavanagh.
The biggest hit of the day, the biggest hit of the series, this Celtic International T20 Challenge Series. Joanna Kavanagh has pongoed that one miles over the leg side, down the track perfectly to the ball. Boundary ropes have been brought in. It doesn't matter a jot because it went over the marquee. The team player tents across to her right. What a hit that is. Joanna Kavanagh not going to allow the wickets falling at the other end to change her approach. She moves into the 20s.
Yeah, that's one of the things that people don't really know about Kavanagh, is that she can hit the biggest ball probably in the team, and that's including Gabby Lewis. She hits a huge ball when she lets go. So Catherine Fraser coming round the wicket now. Down again, this time forced to play a bit of an unorthodox sweep shot, but she rarely misses those.
Well adjusted though, in fairness. Definitely didn't get to the pitch of the ball, looking to repeat the dose, looking to smash another big 6 into the leg side. Didn't get there, adjusted down on to her bunches. And important to see boundaries being hit, and can't get over just how big a hit that was. That's about a 90-yard hit across to the leg side, I reckon. Definitely the biggest of the series so far.
And Rachel Delaney facing up for the first delivery of her series. Worked into the leg side. Good batting from her. It's always important to get off the mark, especially in T20 cricket. That's the end of the 17th. A good one for Ireland. They move on to 104 for 6.
Yeah, Delaney into the side today for just her second T20 international appearance. The off spinner and lower order batter from Merrion Cricket Club, your alma mater.
Yeah, I don't think she'd like to be known as a lower order batter. Usually opens the batting in 50 over cricket and has been doing it very well actually this year. So a bit of a surprise to see her come in so low, but does show that they have options in this Ireland team. In fact, Leah Paul, who came in just before her, opens for the other team. So the difference in attack for T20 cricket, and it's probably nice for the Irish team to know on the sideline that someone who opens the batting in 50 over cricket can come in and work the ball around. That's the batting card so far. Shauna Kavanagh looking really good on her 24. Rachel Delaney just joining her on one. Lots of starts, but no one really gone on yet.
Yeah, Catherine Bryce going to come back in now from the city end.
Shuffles down straight away. Delaney's going to take on the fielder at mid-on. She knows her job is to get Kavanagh on strike.
Let's take a quick look at the bowling figures if we can, because what options does Scotland have for these remaining overs? Obviously, I think Catherine Bryce will bowl this, the 18th and the 20th. Maybe Katie McGill, perhaps, from the Dundonald end.
Yeah, you'd have to think that it's Katie McGill. She's had a good series so far. Relishes the challenge of pretty much any situation. That's well played by Kavanagh. A bit well fielded as well. Almost creating a second run for Ireland, unfortunately for Scotland. Slowed the ball down enough to allow Kavanagh to race back for a second.
I think she might have landed on the ball and it's ended up squirting out from underneath her body. Becky Glenn so effective at backward point, but Kavanagh's quick between the wickets, gets back for a second. Really crucial knock this from the wicket-keeper batsman.
Full again from Bryce. Really good death bowling from her. Very difficult to score boundaries off that. I wonder though if Kavanagh might take on the 45 fielder on the ring. Does love to ramp the ball, but she'd have to make sure she gets it over the head of that fielder. But it's Rachel Delaney to face up. She'll be eyeing up the offside, I think. Both mid-off and extra cover quite tight. Slower ball and nicely, deftly played by Delaney. She'll have to race to get back for two, but she'll do it pretty easily. She's looked really good since coming in. Smart batter.
Yeah, good batting and good knowledge of where the fielders are. 5 fielders on the leg side for Delaney, only 4 on the offside, which means of course there's no third man, no one behind square really on the offside. It's going to bring about an immediate change in the field, so mid-wicket will come across and try and plug that gap. It's Priyana's Chatterjee.
Shuffles down again, but doesn't beat the bowler. What I really like about this Ireland squad at the moment is the competition, for not only for places in the team but in the order. Leah and Rachel batting at 7 and 8, they both would want to be up the order, so they're trying to prove that they should be up there. And that kind of competition within the team, even as you're trying to win a game, is really healthy and makes everyone play better. Looks leg side, squirts it away. There is protection at straight mid-wicket.
Tight stuff from Catherine Bryce. You can see immediately she's gone to the death style of bowling. 7 runs coming from the over. We're on to a Nelson. It's 111 for 6 after 18. Ireland again probably won't quite get up to the heights of 137 that they did yesterday, but they'll be looking north of 120. I think if they end up around that 120, 125 mark, could be in for a really interesting chase to see who's going to take the lead in this series. Squared at the moment at 1 apiece.
Well, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again today. You rarely see the Bryce sisters fail twice in a row, and you even more rarely see them fail 3 times in a row. So they'll be wanting to make their mark on this series with the bat today. So Ireland won't need more than a run of ball to defend if either of those two gets going. And it is Katie McGill who'll bowl the penultimate over from the Dundonald end. Slower ball to start. Nicely played from Delaney. She goes straight down the ground. An interesting pickup from McCall. She almost went past that. Manages to grab it. Heart in her mouth for a second there, I'd say.
Yeah, you're right on the failures for the Bryce sisters. Very surprising. 14 and 12 for Sarah and Catherine in game 1, and then just 2 and 17 yesterday. By their lofty standards, that's well short of expectations. The 2 leading run scorers in Scottish women's T20I history. To think they'll fire at some stage.
High again from Kavanagh. She takes on the boundary. She wants to go well over 120. That's 6 more to the Ireland total.
Really good batting, and it's a career best for Shauna Kavanagh. She's been around the setup a long time, often batting much lower down the order. She's been given a new role higher up the order, and she's showing what she can bring to this Irish side. Power and really elegant stroke making, lots of sweeps. And the second maximum of her innings, nowhere near as big as the first, still goes in the book the same. 6 more.
Really beautiful shot along the ground, this time going through the offside. She's really motoring now, Kavanagh. That's 4 more.
Great intent, really good batting. 6 over the leg side, just about clearing the rope. This one perhaps a lot more stylish and a lot more elegant, wide outside the off stump. McGill trying to hide it away from Kavanagh's favoured leg side, and she simply opens up her options. It's brought about another change in the field because long off's going to go back, meaning that cover is up now on the offside. Pressure on Scotland, really good late runsies. Maybe the Irish women can get north of that 137 I said that they might not get past from yesterday's total.
Another slower ball through, appeal and gone. That's LBW, that's the wicket they wanted. One too many sweeps for Kavanagh, and she's got to go.
Absolutely plump. Struck in front of middle, probably on the full or maybe just on the half volley. McGill was looking for the block hole. Really good bowling, just been pumped for 10 runs in 2 deliveries, and that one is as plumb as you will ever see.
You can tell from the appeal that Katie McGill knew she had her wicket. Absolute desperation appealing there, but she's played a very good hand for her team. Shauna Kavanagh, she goes for 37, and it's the diminutive Celeste Rack who'll join her clubmate Rachel Delaney.
Career best for Shauna Kavanagh in T20 international cricket, and what a really impressive knock it was. It's put Ireland probably onto the front foot here, in spite of falling in the penultimate over of the first innings. Gone for 37 from 30 deliveries. 2 sixes, 1 4. Really good knock.
Yeah, I think we'll see Rachel or Celeste Rack looking to get off strike here and get Rachel Delaney back on strike. It doesn't manage to make contact on that occasion, so dot to start off with for the Australian born leg spinner.
Katie McGill, Scotland women's leading T20I wicket taker. Her 23rd match today. It's her 24th scalp. Really good consistent bowling from McGill.
Thin edge from Rack. That's a heartbreaker for the bowler. Races away. Nothing Sarah Bryce can do behind the stumps about that one. A boundary to close out the 19th. Ireland move along to 126 for 7.
Beautifully bowled. Perfect delivery just outside the off stump. That's not where Rack was looking to hit it at all, but as we've seen quite a bit in this series, so often third man either not in place or quite wide. That's allowed plenty of runs to come off the edges. Rack won't mind how she got it. She's off the mark with a boundary 4. Ireland 6 deliveries to work with. Can they get past that 137 from yesterday?
Rachel Delaney will be eyeing up a couple of boundaries this over. Likes to drive through the offside, so extra cover comes quite straight. Short third man has gone finer for you there, Lenny. Just looks for the ramp and misses.
Yeah, third man into a much more traditional position that you'd see so often, but both third man and fine leg up in the circle. Catherine Bryce bowling the final over the first innings.
Slower ball over, extra cover for Delaney. Mid off, runs past it and comes around. Rack coming back for the second, just about making it. She was run out yesterday, so she'd be glad not to be run out again yet anyway.
Abby Aiken-Drummond at mid-off, just running around it, almost plugged in the turf, didn't it? A little bit like the 6 we saw in the outfield occasionally when it goes into the air, taking a really heavy landing, deceiving Drummond. Time for Delaney to get back for 2.
Goes for the ramp again and falls over rather than making contact. It's a good option with fine leg up in the circle, but perhaps better playing her strong shots down the ground.
I'd agree with the latter thing of what you said there. I'm not sure it's a good option with fine leg. Probably going to catch that even if he gets it away. I'd rather see her try and pump it down the ground, although as we say that, mid-off has gone back to long off.
This will suit Delaney. She likes to hit square through the covers. Not off a slower ball though, so just the single. Really canny bowling from Catherine.
Yeah, good change of pace, looked like an off-cutter. Slower out of the hand, and every run going to be crucial here. Always the advantage of batting first. You have no total to chase down, you're just trying to get as many as you can. So 2 deliveries left. Can Rack find a boundary somehow?
Goes for that ramp and gets it fine of that fielder. Catherine Fraser gives chase, but the ball will beat her to the boundary. A good effort from her, but it's not enough. And Rack finds that boundary that you were wondering would she find.
Yeah, and what a touch shot that was. Managing to get the ramp out. A very different technique to the ramp that Delaney attempted, just down on one knee and just guiding it, using the pace, going to the right of the fine leg fielder. Probably crept in just a little bit, maybe looking to save the one. It's ended up costing Scotland 4 runs. Good batting from Rack.
Yeah, excellent batting from her. She's got one more ball to face. This time moves away, hits it into the offside. Maksud misfield, so they'll look to come back for 2. They'll pick the right end. It's Rack's, and she's going to be run out for the second day running. They'll get the first run, but not the second. A wicket to finish out the innings. So Ireland closing out on 134 for 7.
Yeah, and look at the glove work again from Sarah Bryce, using the modern technique, stretching out in front of the stumps. It was a misfield that started it, but the throw was a good one. One bounce in from the deep. Bryce taking it in front of the stumps, whipping the bails off. Rack was caught well short. That's not going to matter. It was a freebie. If the throw had happened to be a wayward one. Good late runs from Rack. She'll finish on 9, with one of those 2 runs counting, like you said. Isabel and Ireland come up just short of yesterday's effort, 134 for 7. That proved much too good yesterday for Scotland.
Yeah, I sold you a dummy there. It's 134 for 8 with that run out, so I apologise, that's my bad. It's obviously on the screen there as 133 for 7. But yeah, I think they'll be happy with that. Ireland, a different innings, not one kind of main innings. They've had a lot of people chip in, and they'll nearly be kind of happier with that in some ways.
Yeah, I think also Scotland may be a little more pleased with the way they went about things with the ball in the field than yesterday. It's interesting listening to Scotland head coach Mark Coles after the game yesterday. He was saying that he thought Ireland women were excellent and his side were completely outplayed. He didn't mind that because he said he had so much to work with for the 3rd of 4 internationals that he felt his side could bounce back today. They're going to have to bounce back in a big way. 61 run defeat yesterday. So much is going to revolve upon that top order, including those 2 Bryce sisters.
Yeah, a huge amount of pressure on those 2. They'll be used to that pressure, however. They're used to having to score the bulk of the runs, but the Ireland team have really impressed me with the ball and in the field. It's a real new look game, new look team. Plenty of bowling options for Laura Delaney. Rachel Delaney coming into the team today. She's an off spinner, so we might see her today. An embarrassment of riches. That's the batting card. Lots of starts, Andrew.
Yeah, lots of starts, but I think that will be most pleasing for Irish fans and for the head coach Ed Joyce will be the form of Shauna Cavan in the middle order. Her career best today. Being around international cricket an awfully long time. It was a magnificent innings. 37 from 30 deliveries, really thriving in that new role up the order. Orla Prendergast showed a little as well, but the only thing he won't be happy with is all those scores in the teens, Isabel.
Now you'll want those players up the top of the order to go on once they start. Well, I like those 2 scores of 8 by Moritz and Rack, both scoring their runs off 3 deliveries, and that's the bowling card. Catherine Bryce, so unlucky not to take a wicket. She bowled really well, but it was Abta Maksud that impressed the most. 2 wickets for 19 from her 4, and Catherine Fraser is also excellent, taking 2, as was Megan McCall. First time we've seen her today. She took 2 wickets, went for 15 off one of her overs, but took 2 wickets in her 2 overs.
I'm always going to be biased, but the pick of the bowlers by a distance of Tatha Maksud, outstanding, 2 for 19, and really helped restrict Ireland women. We're going to be in for a thrilling chase, Isabel.
Yeah, it's been brilliant watching. We do hope you'll join us for the second innings. That comes shortly. In the meantime, we'll see you in 10 minutes. And from myself, Isabel Joyce, and Andrew Leonard, we'll say goodbye for now. Yes, and welcome back to Stormont in Belfast for match 3 of the Celtic International T20 Challenge between Ireland and Scotland. My name's Isabel Joyce and I'm joined in the commentary box, I'll call it, by Andrew Leonard. Earlier in the day, Ireland set a target of 135 to win for Scotland. An imposing total, a difficult one for Ireland to chase down. The series is currently 1-1. It's good weather, the sun is out, the jackets are off. Beautiful weather for watching cricket. Orla Prendergast will open the bowling from the City end, and it's Sarah Bryce and Becky Glenn to open up. A really mouth-watering contest, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been so blessed after what was torrential rain on Sunday, which should have been the first match of the series, but wisely there was a reserve day yesterday which was utilised, so we're into the third of these 4 T20 internationals. Series in the balance. We're going to find out over the course of the next hour which side definitely can't win the series. Could be tied, of course, if sides win one apiece over the next day or two. Ireland probably slight favourites at the moment. Scotland women are going to need 135 to win. We are set fair for a good hour and a half of cricket here.
So a good start from Prendergast straight away. Good pace, good bounce. That one got up a little bit higher than Sarah Bryce was expecting. Almost edged that one through to Shauna Kavanagh behind the stumps.
First time we've seen real signs of bounce from either of the sides. Prendergast certainly the fastest bowler on display from both teams. That one steeply in bounce from just back of a length. Really good start from the Pembroke all-rounder.
And again, she can't believe that she hasn't taken the edge, Prendergast. What an opening bowler she is, straight on the money, giving her team a chance for wickets right from the off. And Sarah Bryce just about survives.
Not just the edge it's eluded, Isabel, so close to knocking over the off stump as well. Look at this movement off the pitch into the right-hander, and that's why there was that display of emotion from Prendergast. She couldn't believe it hasn't cannoned into off stump.
Solid from Bryce. It's nice to get the ball on the bat after missing 2. Yeah, last year Orla Prendergast made a bit of a habit of dismissing Gabby Lewis with just that delivery, a half an inch over to the stumps, kept on bowling her. So she's used to that, finding the stumps. So no wonder she couldn't believe she hadn't got her woman. And again, another dot. What a start this is from Prendergast.
How did you cope with that as a player, Isabel? Same as the men's setup. The community very small here. Everyone not just playing with each other, but often against each other. How do you go from being opponents one day to teammates the next?
Well, it's tough sometimes if people are very competitive, so you can find it difficult playing club cricket against them. There's only a few of those around, though. I won't embarrass anyone by naming.
Name names, no?
No, I won't name names. They know who they are. But that's a first mistake from Prendergast. It's funny.
Some of your teammates had the red mist, did they?
There's a couple. It might be 1 or 2 out there today, but it's good, I think, to have. It's really important to have the competitive kind of edge in club cricket, because otherwise you don't get better from it. But really, what's interesting is you kind of are pulling for each other while also hoping each other do poorly, which is a funny one. But it's probably usual in women's sports. There can be quite small numbers, and hopefully that'll continue to grow. As Cricket Ireland announced recently that they have a new strategic plan for women's cricket in Ireland. Great to see that happening. Huge amount of effort going into that. They've got a 2-year plan, 2021 to 2023. That's online if you want to have a look at what the plans are. There's a few national development programs called It's Wicket and another one called Smash It. And they've also done On the Front Foot podcast series. First runs off the bat, well fielded by Maritz behind point. She'll keep that to 1. It's a really good over from Prendergast, just the 2 from it.
I think that's what all Irish fans want. They want more boys and girls getting access to the game, not just the development officers like yourself, Izzy, going around the grounds and the clubs and the schoolyards, but getting more and more cricket, more and more exposure. The importance of this live stream here.
Yeah, so some of the things they'll be aiming for, they're looking to become the fastest growing sport for women and girls in Ireland. and they want to build access, visibility and participation in women and girls cricket to grow the game across Ireland. I think that's a huge thing that they've already started doing in Cricket Ireland. Historically, Leinster the strongest union, but we're seeing players come out of both the NCU and the NWCU, and Lana Dalzell, and coming out of the NWCU, she's a really good player up in Breedy, and then Amy Hunter debuting this week, and Cara Murray making a return to the Irish team, first time since 2018, those two playing their cricket in the NCU.
Going to be Ava Canning to open the bowling from the Dundonald end, as she's done all week in just her third T20I, made her debut on Monday.
Great length straight away from Canning, so tall, so difficult to get on top of the bounce when she gets that length right, and it does seem like there is more bounce in the wicket today from both ends.
Yeah, she's growing quite literally in stature this week. Ava Canning, I think she was very nervous on day one, didn't look to bowl with a great fluency despite picking up her maiden T20I wicket, already showing that she can get the ball through at better pace.
Beautiful shot from Canning, but what a pickup from Ritz. Her fielding's improved leaps and bounds in the 20 months she was in Australia for.
Yeah, look at the energy, look at the vibrancy from this Irish side. Immediately a diving stop, and all the fielders around are straight over, high fives or elbows or fist bumps. Great energy from this Irish side, really well led by Laura Delaney.
Onto the back foot this time, and brilliant fielding from Leah Paul, diving to her right. Her stronger side, the left, of course, so an even better stop when you look at it from that aspect. So Sarah Bryce not really able to get off the mark yet.
And standard of fielding just growing and growing. Talked about Thailand women a bit during the week, how much they've raised the game in the third facet, not batting, not bowling, but their fielding leading the way, and leading the way through that qualifier that broke Irish hearts September 2019 up in Scotland, as Ireland came up short to Thailand.
Yeah, they had been improving in that aspect while I was still playing, but didn't quite have the bowling and batting to back it up. But they're really improving in all facets now. Again onto the back foot. Interesting shot selection considering that angle that Ava Canning gets into the batter. Probably best off looking to play with a straight bat.
Yeah, difficult for Bryce, not the start she would have been looking for. She's looked nervy, a few tentative prods and pokes outside the off stump. But these are the two batters, the Bryce sisters, in such form. Played more cricket than most during the pandemic.
Onto the back foot again, and Paul, such good anticipation from her in point. Every single ball that they can get away with without a run scored for Ireland is a real win. So that pressure building for Scotland, and the required run rate building too.
And you can see the visible frustration from Bryce, scratching the turf in anger. 5 consecutive dots. Canning close out a maiden.
Beautifully played by Bryce. You can't keep her down for long. She bisects extra cover and mid-off. That's a shot of real class. The first boundary for Scotland, the first boundary for Bryce.
Yeah, just the half volley, the long half volley, pumped down the ground. The lengths were really good in the over up until that point, but over pitch this time, and right into the hitting arc. Good wrists, good control from Sarah Bryce. She does get away the first boundary of the chase. 2 overs gone. Scotland move to 6 for none.
Yeah, that'd be a relief for Sarah Bryce to get that first boundary away. Orla Prendergast will bowl her second from the city end. Our 2 umpires today, Alan Neal and Rowley Black. 2 top class umpires, great to see them umpiring for women's internationals. And Becky Glenn has had an indifferent series so far. She'll be desperate to make a score today. Full toss to start off with from Orla Prendergast, almost an aggressive full toss. Becky Glenn was very surprised by that one.
Yeah, again, the extra pace that Prendergast possesses is really on show. So even though it's not where she intended, probably looking for the block hole, looking to go full and straight for the first delivery for Glenn, it really did shock Glenn. Glenn had walked half skip down the track, almost looped off a leading edge up to the fielders in the offside.
The hands go to the head again for Prendergast. She's bowled a really good spell so far. Just 8 balls from it, but she's surprised not to have a wicket yet. Becky Glenn looking so tentative there. You can see the fear she has of making another duck.
Prendergast making a real statement here, looking like she's going to take a wicket every single ball at the moment. Bowling with aggression, pace, real rhythm as well. And just pulling out maybe a little bit of gamesmanship, but just clever cricket from Becky Glenn. And the fielder's still encouraging in the offside, and Glenn just taking a moment saying, I'm not ready yet. Good cricket.
Fully entitled to do that. Of course, you're not supposed to be chatting and encouraging as the bowler's running into bowl. Straight through, appeal, and given not out by Alan Neal. I think Orla Prendergast is more appealing because she thinks she should have a wicket by now than she thought that it took the edge.
I don't think it's hit the edge, it's hit the pad. And you'll see very clearly here, going in between the bat and pad, clipping probably the flap of the pad before going through to Cavan. A really good decision. Can't be given out LBW because Glenn is outside the line of the off stump and attempting a stroke. But good pace, and again the movement cutting Glenn in half. Brilliant from Prendergast.
Straight through and gone. It's another duck for Glenn. A nightmare series for her so far, but what a series for Orla Prendergast. She's bowled so well so far today. She deserved that wicket and now she's got it.
A star is born here in Belfast, and the star is in the name of Orla Prendergast. This is outstanding. Too good, too quick, too much movement, and she is putting her name up in lights. If you're watching this stream around the world, if you're representing the 100, get her over there. Doesn't matter that she's coming from the green of Ireland. We are seeing a star in the making. This Pembroke all-rounder, superb pace and aggression and movement, and just too good for Becky Glenn.
Absolutely agree with you there. Cricket's so lucky to have her. She's so talented at football as well. It was always the fear that she'd choose the bigger ball sport, and she's chosen cricket. And I think the difference really there is that she's got that part-time contract that Cricket Ireland offers. One of the only part-time professional sports for women in Ireland. The only other one that I know of is rugby, and I'm not even sure that they're professional at the moment. They go in and out of contracts as far as I'm aware. Must do more research into that. I'll ask Alan Lewis maybe. He's so good at the research. But yeah, she's really made use of that time that she's got, the extra contact time with coaches and all the support the Cricket Ireland have given her, and really just growing in stature as a player.
Catherine Bryce in at number 3 to face up to what's a fiery spell of fast bowling.
Short to start off with it's Catherine Bryce's favourite area, but doesn't manage to get it through the field.
Pressure on Scotland here is really being compounded by not just the early wicket but the lack of runs. All these dots stringing up for the second time in 2 overs. The first 5 deliveries of the over not going for a run. Prendergast so exciting with the ball here. Can she find a second breakthrough?
Very full, and just manages to dig that one out. 1 over from Orla Prendergast. It's a wicket maiden. Scotland remain on 6, but with 1 in the wicket column after 3 overs.
Yeah, brilliant bowling. And Isabel, let me ask you, if you could predict the future and you could see Orla or Prendergast or Gabby Lewis going across and playing in the 100, do you think they'd be good enough?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think that people in those competitions who are recruiting don't understand is that the franchise teams have more inexperienced players in them than international teams, which seems kind of obvious, but it's true. And players like Gabby Lewis and Orla Prendergast, coming from kind of a weaker nation as we'd be seen in Ireland, they'd be used to being in positions that perhaps the senior players in England wouldn't be used to, so they bring something different. Ava Canning returning from the Dundonald end, driven nicely from Sarah Bryce. There's protection out on the offside. Yeah, so just with the idea of those overseas players, you often get in Australian players or New Zealand players who perhaps wouldn't be used to the situation that they're in, with more inexperienced players coming in behind them. Usually used to having the likes of Rachel Haynes coming in at number 7. It doesn't happen in the 100.
Yeah, eight franchise sides, Isabel, going to be represented in that new tournament, which is played over the slightly controversial format of 100 balls rather than very popular 2020, which is 120 balls, but a slight change up probably won't make too much of a difference to the quality of cricket on show, and lots of big players coming in. Some sides all around the country: Manchester, London, Birmingham, Cardiff.
Upish, but manages to hold back there. Catherine Bryce almost managed to push that into the hands of Laura Delaney, an extra cover. Yeah, the 100 is it's a funny one, but it nearly cuts out those middle overs where not a huge amount happens. I think that might be the thinking behind it.
Couldn't disagree more with you. Should have just stuck to T20 in my opinion.
I didn't say it was a good idea.
What do I know?
I didn't say it was a good idea. I just said that might be why. Much fuller into the block hole. Really excellent bowling from Canning. So difficult to pick that up from her height. Well kept out from Bryce.
It all gets going, that 100 on the 21st of July, with the women's leading it off. Oval Invincibles against the Manchester Originals there in London, and we are going to keep you posted as to whether or not maybe you might see an Irish player picked up in the latter stages. Still a couple of months to go before the start of that.
Yeah, always a chance. No single there, it's a surprise. Rebecca Stokel doing the tidying up. The dive from Laura Delaney probably stopping the single there. It's always there's still time for people to pull out from Australia, New Zealand, those kinds of countries. There are a couple of Indian players as well. Who knows what's going to happen, unfortunately. If anyone from India is watching, we're thinking of you. Such a tough situation over there at the moment. Down on one knee for Catherine Bryce.
You know it yourself from representing not just Ireland, Isabel, but playing cricket overseas down with the Hobart Hurricanes and the Women's Big Bash. How important is it, that exposure, that development it gave you to your game? It came later in your career.
Yeah, it was absolutely huge for me. I think it came at the right time for me personally, because I knew my game by then. I probably wasn't a good enough player when I was younger to have been brought over there. But yeah, in Ireland we play against the same players over and over again. So going over there and having to not only pro for Tasmania but the Hobart Hurricanes and then a club in Tasmania. I also played a little bit in Melbourne while I was there. It's just, you have to think on your feet all the time. You learn so fast, and it's great to see that, you know, the likes of Kim Garth. Unfortunately now she's obviously not playing for Ireland, but other players going over and honing their skills over there. What a Prendergast again. Rebecca Stokel cuts that one off. Good anticipation from her in mid-off. Not the easiest position to field.
Good strong drive as well from Catherine Bryce. The first full face of the bat we've seen creating Prendergast. What would that do for someone like Orla Prendergast, getting that exposure, that opportunity to go down and play, whether it be in a Big Bash or across the water there in England, and go on and play in the 100? It would just develop their game to a point that might not be possible right now in Irish cricket.
Nicely played from Sarah Bryce. Manages to find the gap this time. Didn't try and hit it too hard. That was the key. Beat the fielders in cover and point. That's 4 runs to her. Well, what it does going over and playing overseas is that actually you can have a tough time and you learn a lot about yourself. You don't have the support networks that you have at home. You don't have everyone cheering you on. You don't get 10,000 chances like you might do here. You have to make it, or else you get dropped. So it's a tough school, and that can be the making of a player like Orla Prendergast or Gabby Lewis. In fact, Gabby Lewis was in Hobart when I was there, and I was keen for her to get a go. She could have been picked, and we had an injury in the team and they're allowed to be picked, but coach Julia Price opted not to use her, which was understandable. She had her squad there, but Gabby was hitting them so well, and I just knew what she could do. So that was an opportunity missed.
It's funny though, isn't it? It's the same in the men's game. Often those personal connections can get you into the franchise, give you that in. You think of Paul Sterling, played a lot of cricket with Owen Morgan in Middlesex, followed him around some of the franchises that he's played in.
And straight through, Prendergast takes her second. Bryce scores a boundary and then she's gone. Bowled by Orla Prendergast.
Yeah, and for the third time in 2 days, the middle stump takes a walk. It's taken a walk to the bowling of Orla Prendergast. Sharp, fast bowling, incisive with the movement in the air and off the pitch. Look at that one, a real old-fashioned inducker. Sarah Bryce never looked comfortable during her stay at the crease. Off stump or middle stump, knocked out of the ground. Sensational from Prendergast, another wicket for her.
Yeah, she's just growing and growing. We say it every over almost, but been so impressive, Orla Prendergast, and good to see the excitement from her. She's an understated player usually. but really enjoying this spell of bowling, really growing into her work. And just quickly, I'll touch on the fact that actually the reason I ended up going over to Australia was Julia Price was assistant coach. Now, I met her when I was 16, obviously, and I've known her since then, but she was assistant coach for Ireland at the World Cup in 2016, and we got to chatting after the tournament, and I said I'd always wanted to play professionally, and she said she just didn't realise that was even something that I'd wanted to do. And then when a spot opened up, I got the text message, what do you think? And it wasn't a huge amount of money, but I jumped on the chance, and one of the best experiences of my life, I have to say.
Katie McGill in at number 4 for Scotland women. They're right up against it, and they're up against it because of this sharp, impressive spell of fast bowling from Orla Prendergast. Already found 2 wickets into her 3rd over. I just wonder, will they keep her going the whole way through, try and find another one? 2 wickets yesterday, and a wicket in the first game, so 5 wickets already in the 3-match series for Prendergast. And with the end of the 5th over, Izzy, I'm going to bid you a short farewell, but I'll pick up with you later on, I'm sure. 5 overs gone. It's 13 for 2.
Yes, thanks, Lenny. Andrew Blair White returning. And you've been watching in the background, Andrew, seen an aggressive spell of bowling from Orla Prendergast, someone that's growing through the series.
Yeah, super from Orla Prendergast. Fast, straight bowling, attacks the stumps and makes things happen. And this has probably been a coming of age series for Orla, trying to take on more of a leadership role within this side now. I know she's still very young herself.
It's Ava Canning. Nicely played from Bryce again, picks out the fielder in the deep, that's Lara Moritz. Ava Canning bowling her 3rd over, just like yesterday, the 2 opening bowlers bowling 3 apiece. Andrew Leonard calling for Orla Prendergast to be bowled right through, and I do think it's a good idea. There's so many bowling options for Laura Delaney. She won't be in need of Orla at the back end of the innings. Another youngster, so Orla Prendergast just 18 years old. Ava Canning also very young, her 3rd game in the Ireland colours. It's worked into the leg side, great anticipation from Prendergast, something that she can't teach. Well, you can teach, but it's very, I'm sure, but it's very difficult too. That anticipation, so important in the field.
Yeah, exactly, and I think these two, there's legs to this opening partnership as bowlers. I think they complement each other really nicely. Ava Canning obviously a lot slower, but moves the ball very exaggeratedly back into the right-handers.
Well, it goes aerial, it's agricultural, but there is protection. Gabby Lewis coming around from a straight mid-wicket, just cut that one off. Didn't get any real pace on that, McGill, more a placement shot.
Yeah, I think to keep Orla Prendergast on for her last over and try to take the wicket of either Bryce or McGill here would probably put the nail in the coffin for Scotland. So you've got to try and seize the initiative while you have it.
You can see Catherine Price is just itching to hit that over the top, but a good decision from her to pull out of the shot. She knows she has to bat through if Scotland are going to have any chance of chasing down this total. The target 135.
Well, that's where Canning's deceptively difficult, I suspect, because you'd think almost all the time that shot could be on, but it never really is.
Absolutely. She draws you in. It's only really when she bowls that length, that full half volley length, where Sarah Bryce punished her in her last over, that you can really get her away. You have to have really, really good technique, good stable base to hit her over the top, Canning. Back on the right length from Canning to close out the 6th. What a power play that is for Ireland. They'll be pleased as punch. Scotland struggling a little bit, 15 for 2.
Yeah, been excellent bowling from Ireland in this first 6 overs, as you can see from the run rate there. Scotland just not being able to get anywhere near where Ireland started off. They were 36 after their 6 overs, and we won't see Orla Prendergast finish up. Laura Delaney opting to maybe keep her back 1 over. And we're going to see the leg breaks of Celeste Rack, who's already garnered some wickets already in this series.
Yeah, I spoke to her yesterday. She said, I didn't bowl well enough to get all my overs. That's a typical leg spinner. They want to bowl their 4 overs and they want to get the most runs, and that's one of the reasons why they bowl what they do. Hasn't bowled as well as she would have liked so far this series. Has taken wickets, but a few with full tosses. Probably wants to get the old in dipping, away turning, caught behind or stumping. That's the dream for a leg spinner. So we'll see her attempt to take the 3rd wicket. She's bowling the 7th. Swept straight away. Good fielding on the boundary from Prendergast. Makes it look so easy.
That covers the ground very quickly. And I know these two will have to bat an awful long time for Scotland to have a chance here, but the run rate at 8, required run rate even, at 8.6, risks are going to have to be taken.
Yeah, better pace from Rack there, flattens that one up. Required run rate up at 8.6 and the current run rate at 2.53, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there. Huge difference between those two numbers. They'll have to get those much closer together very quickly. Short this time and cut out to Gabby Lewis in the outfield. Really hard to score boundaries off the spin of Rack. She has good protection in the right areas, cover out, long on, deep straight mid wicket and deep square, so you have to invent a shot to score a boundary, take some risks. Short again, but can only find the skipper Laura Delaney at extra cover. Reverse sweep attempted by Katie McGill, not a bad option. Vacant backward point area. Rachel Delaney was scampering around. She thought she was in the game.
Yeah, no, it's the right type of option. As you say, you do have to invent something, especially with this field.
Full again, but straight to the fielder in deep square. Lara Moritz this time tidying that one up. So a very quick over. That's the problem with these spinners. They get through their overs so fast. 7 overs gone. Scotland 17 for 2. There you can see Celeste Rack. Favourite player Rashid Khan. That's no surprise, is it? I'm sure she liked Shane Warne as well in her day, originally from Australia. But Rashid Khan is the best leg spinner at the moment. Best bowler in the world at the moment, in fact, in men's cricket anyway.
Those leg spinners do tend to stick to their pack as well. They seem to love watching other leg spinners, which is great. Rashid Khan, no finer exponent of leg spin bowling over the last number of years in white ball cricket.
And strays down leg, Ava Canning, she'll bowl out her 4 overs. We saw this yesterday when she bowled her 4th over. She just looked a little bit tired, bowled a couple of extras, went for a boundary, something that Laura Delaney might want to look at, possibly finishing her spell at 3 overs for the moment. Of course, she broke her ankle last year, so huge year for her at 2021, making her way into the Irish team after that injury. Good cricket from McGill, always so busy. Huge area in the leg side for her to score some singles. There's no mid wicket for her, there's a 45 because she does like that ramp shot.
I think it's a pretty clever field being set here by Laura Delaney for Ava Canning with the type of bowling she's implementing here into the right hander. 3 back on the leg side, deep square leg, deep mid wicket and long on.
Beautiful shot. Catherine Bryce, so classy, so good behind point. Great hands, gets that one backward a point, beats the fielder. It was in the air for a while, but the placement was too good. That's 4 runs.
Yeah, probably just a hint wide this time from Canning. Struggling to bring that ball back in this time round. It was a bit of width on offer. And Catherine Bryce needs no second invitation to attack that width. Gets it past Leah Paul, backward a point, and it'll always run away for 4 down to that end of the ground.
Yeah, it's a classic in-swinger's mistake, bowling the leg, the wide down leg side and then going 2 wide outside off stump. You can almost set up for that shot once the wide goes down the leg side. Catherine Bryce too good on that occasion. Back on into her work. Well, it straightens that one up. Good cricket from Catherine Bryce. Now, what is it about leg spinners that they do hunt in packs so much? They should be saying each other aren't great so that they can boost themselves up.
Well, certainly our co-commentator Andrew Leonard absolutely loves bowling his leg spin. He's gotten me out a couple of times in club cricket as well.
The aim of everyone in Leinster cricket, no doubt, Andrew. I'm not sure that's there to cut for Katie McGill. Far too full. Very difficult to make contact on the back foot when the ball is pitched that closely to you. Yes, Andrew Leonard usually tries to find any leg spinners around and talk them up, so no surprise he likes Maksud and the Scotland team. Clubbed down the ground. Rebecca Stokel wrong-footed. Not the prettiest shot, but effective from Katie McGill. That one's raced over the rope.
Yeah, good shot from McGill this. As you say, clubbing this away more than driving it, but straight of Stokel at mid-off, who I think was looking the other way, was trying to anticipate the other way. He's been wrong-footed, but it was well past her. And it's a stern examination of Canning's ability here, how she can bounce back. Scotland trying to put a bit of onus back on this run chase.
Good clever batting from McGill, taking on mid-on. Cara Murray running in and keeping it to 1. So good over for Scotland. At the end of the 8th, they move along to 30 for 2. 13 from it. So good to see Scotland not just settling in. They're going to take on this total. It's not a huge target. 135 is by no means massive. So definitely something that they will, if they manage to pull it off, there'll be a real feather in the cap.
Yeah, well, it's probably down to these two batters, McGill and Bryce. We've seen McGill bat very well this week so far. Catherine Bryce probably hasn't been quite as good as she holds herself to.
Down the track, evasive action from Catherine Bryce. She had to move quickly to get out of the way of that one. Katie McGill not hanging around. Yeah, she has batted well, but not no real big scores. You'd have to think the big score would have to come from Catherine Bryce. A really good record that she has. Plays her cricket for the Loughborough Lightning in the 100. And these two just setting about their work. They know they need to get a single off every ball, and then if they can find a boundary and over, then before you know it, the score will be rising towards that target.
And so no surprise to see them try to take on Rack as well, trying to upset the leg spinner's rhythm.
It's better from Rack. Good, decent pace. Manages to throw it up a little bit above the eye line, but gets it to drop. Over the top from McGill, straight down the ground. Cara Murray doing well though. Good pick up and quick release.
Yeah, good work from Murray down at long on. Nice pace from Rack, trying to tempt the batter in there, potentially opening up that stumping opportunity.
Dragged down this time. Pulled quite straight. Cara Murray doing the fielding yet again. She's really in the game down there at long on.
Yeah, Bryce will be a little bit disappointed there. She hasn't cashed in with a boundary. They could do with a boundary to finish this over. Good
finish from Rack. She recognises that both players are looking for a boundary, so she pitches it right up. So 9 gone. Scotland 35 for 2. Just the 5 from that over. So good one from Celeste Rack, even though she hasn't taken a wicket. Every over that they can get away below the run rate required will be a good one for Ireland.
Yeah, and we're obviously going to see a change in bowling. Ava Canning's bowled her 4 overs, and it looks like we're going to see Lara Moritz into the attack for the first time today from the Dundonald end of the ground. Good pace, fiery bowler, I'd say, is Lara.
Yeah, she's one of those bowlers that comes on and everyone in the team lifts because she just loves bowling. Loves cricket in general, but especially bowling. Loves to bowl a bouncer or two, so she'll enjoy the fact that the wicket's playing a little bit quicker, a bit more bounce in it today. We'll no doubt see her send 1 or 2 upstairs before long.
Well, she does give that different option to this attack. A little bit more pace and not afraid to bowl it that little bit shorter as well.
Straight away, just threw a little bit quicker. Her run-up looked a bit off there. A few little missteps. Used to struggle a bit with no balls, Lara Moritz, but spent a couple of seasons in Australia and seems to have ironed that out mostly. Ramp shot from McGill. Rachel Delaney down there at fine leg. They'd just moved her squarer, so Katie McGill thought that she'd take on the fielder.
Yeah, good shot from McGill, good option as well, good execution. I like the dynamic of this bowling attack for Ireland. There's a lot of different options, a few quicker seamers, a few slower seamers, leg breaks, left arm off breaks. It's really nice as a captain to have all those options available to you.
Absolutely. We used to have a very, very samey attack. Lots of kind of military medium bowlers. Nicely played by Catherine Bryce. Frustration for her, a good shot just for one. Yeah, it's a bit of a leftover from the previous coach, Aaron Hamilton. Very much looked at the bowling attack, saw what he didn't have, turned Leah Paul into a spinner, really worked on Cara Murray, invited Celeste Rack over from Australia, who has an Irish passport. It's well bowled from Lara Moritz, but it's that no ball. She hasn't looked comfortable in her run-up from the very start of her spell, and it'll be a free hit, a welcome free hit for Scotland.
Yep, you pinpointed it after a delivery, Izzy, that Moritz wasn't maybe overly happy and she's overstepped there, and gives an opportunity here for McGill to try and get a big boundary away, try to add a little bit of momentum to this Scotland run chase. They're building a nice little partnership here, but they could do with a couple of boundaries to just set fire to it.
Full and straight from Lara Moritz. A good reply. Katie McGill doesn't manage to score off the free hit. How often do we see that? It almost gives the impetus straight back to the bowling team when you don't manage to score off a free hit.
Yeah, well executed Yorker from Moritz, not giving McGill that option to swing it away.
Good comeback again from Moritz. Really handy operator in these middle overs. Bowls with real control.
Scottish batters throughout the week have perhaps slightly struggled for timing at times.
Yeah, no real surprise there. Not a lot of cricket in the last 20 months. And that one's played beautifully through the offside. Katie McGill timed that one anyway. Finds the gap between extra cover and mid-off. Neither fielder moved. And that adds a welcome 4 to the total for Scotland.
Yeah, lovely shot here from McGill. A little bit of width on offer from Lara Moritz, and yet again just thrashing it through that mid-off region. Left to the fielder at mid-off, and it's 4 runs all the way there.
And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. It's Andrew Leonard back into the commentary box.
That was lower than I thought.
Thank you so much, Isabel, and yeah, delighted to be joined by not just a special guest, but they're about as special as they come. I've got the great Lady Mary Peters joining me in the commentary box, and sunshine out, cricket on the pitch. It's fantastic to have you.
It's just amazing to see live sport, and especially with the sunshine, and women as well. It's brilliant. I have never been to see a ladies' cricket match before.
Is this your first time seeing women's cricket in the flesh?
It is, but as a young schoolgirl, I was playing cricket very badly one day when the headmaster said to me, "I think you should join the boys for athletics." So I was lost to cricket, but I wasn't a good ball player. No.
Yeah, so we're 10 overs gone here, 41 for 2, Ireland women having a bowl. You're a prodigious athlete, magnificent pedigree. You did play a little bit of cricket when you were younger?
Not very well. I couldn't say I played cricket. I tried.
You tried your best. We're going to talk all about not just your career in sport and athletics, but your legacy now here and everything you're doing with the Mary Peters Trust. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was set up after my success in Munich when I won the gold medal for the pentathlon, and it was to encourage the next generation of young sports people, and we give 120 bursaries every year to young up and coming sports people of every sport that is recognised by Sport NI. And so we have Cara and Amy, who are on the Irish cricket team, who we have supported, but they're the first two girls to be.
And you're like a good luck charm coming into the commentary box, because just as you come in, we're going to have a wicket. It's going to come to the left arm spin of Leah Paul. It's looped up off the outside edge, taken nicely by Ava Canning at backward point, a comfortable catch. And that is going to be the third wicket for Scotland. Irish women right on top here now. Looks like they may well take a 2-1 lead in the series. Mary, this is the first time you've had female cricketers as part of this bursaries, and is that a sign of the way that the women's game is growing here and the direction it's going in?
Absolutely, and I've been hearing about the games that they still have to play this season, and that's very encouraging, because at least it gives them an incentive to keep going and hopefully get to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so Sri Lanka is going to be the qualifier in December.
Yes.
And the Irish women have represented so ably on the global stage. Bring us back a little to your career as an athlete. Did you always feel great pride going around and representing Northern Ireland so ably?
Oh, I was privileged to start at the Commonwealth Games in 1958 in Cardiff, and had 5 Commonwealth competitions and 3 Olympics in Tokyo, Mexico and then Munich. And then I went team managed for 2 Olympics, the British team, and that was in Moscow and Los Angeles. So I've had a long association with sport, and love to see young people getting out there, and they've had such a dearth of sport over the last 18 months. It's great to see them out there again.
It's going to be hit down the ground, and it could be back-to-back wickets. It's going to be.
Wow.
You're not just a good luck charm, I think you're the absolute good luck charm. It's going to be a first ball dismissal, I believe, for Megan McCall, who was looking to hit it down the ground. The catch looping across to mid-off, who takes a really good diving catch. Here's the replay on your screen. You can see in front of you, it was Megan McCall who's going to fall first ball. A really good catch. Very well held athletically across to her right. I'm going to just check who that was. I think it might have been Cara Murray, so one of your scholars.
Yes.
Making good ground across to their right. The 4th wicket falls, Ireland women right on top. I've got Lady Mary Peters joining me here, Andrew Leonard in the commentary box. And Mary, the importance of sport through what was a very different time for Northern Ireland, can that be overstated? How much did it mean?
Oh, I just think it's been very difficult, particularly those that were getting ready for the Olympics in Tokyo, and not being able to be outside their own little bubbles. You know, it's been a very difficult time for them, and I think I'm a bit concerned about Tokyo because of the high incident of COVID virus over there, and I hope that our athletes, although they'll be kind of kept together in an Olympic Village, it's still a danger of being out there.
No doubt it's concerning. The new batter in at number 6 is Priyanai's Chatterjee, who cuts one away for a single. There is talk, hopefully, the Olympics will go ahead, but secondly, that maybe every athlete that goes will be vaccinated.
Yes. I just feel the atmosphere won't be the same. You know, I loved marching in the opening ceremony and being part of the whole Olympic experience of living in a village and all eating in dining rooms together, and, you know, making great friends when I went to Tokyo for the 1964 Olympics. I shared a room with Mary Rand and Anne Packer, and some of your listeners might remember that Mary won a gold, a silver and a bronze, and Anne Packer won a gold and a silver, and I was 4th, and the difference was that they had a nail hammered into the wall so they could hang up their medal, whereas I didn't.
But you found that nail to hang up in the wall. The famous gold medal in Munich in 1972 was a real moment, not just for women's sport, for Northern Irish sport, but also a moment that's lived long in the history.
It has. It was amazing because I was the only track and field athlete that won a gold at those games. There was only two equestrian medals and a sailing one. So I got a lot of coverage, and very happy that at the age of 33, I was able to realise my dream.
And you went out on the top, didn't you?
Yeah,
You said that will do at 33. And these athletes that you're supporting now through the Mary Peters Trust, it's right the way across a huge spectrum of sports. Boxing, athletics, you talk about the two female cricket scholars you have now as well.
We have surfers, we have a lot of boxers, athletes, hockey players, you name the sport, we cover them, as long as they show the talent that we feel that they're going to go places, and that the liaison officer of the various sports recommend them as potential medalists of the future. So next year the Commonwealth Games will be around again, so that's a breeding ground for the Olympic athletes, because if they experience Commonwealth level, it makes them want to go on to Olympic level.
And how does that support work? It's not just in the form of financial support, but education and getting right behind them.
Yes, we do. We give them, we have gatherings where we have media training and how to deal with IT and all the dangers of Facebook and Twitter, which I'm not up to speed with, but you know,
you're already trending on social media. You don't realise it yet. Viewers from all over the world are delighted to hear your thoughts.
But it's and it's about how to deal with sponsorship and how they can get extra sponsorship, because sport now is so expensive for young people and for their families. We had an athlete who was a judo player wanting to go to the 2012 Olympics, and her family mortgaged their house to the value of 40,000 to allow her to be able to travel the world, to be able to qualify for the Olympics, which she did. She wasn't very successful in those games, but went on to win a medal at the next Commonwealth Games. So it's hard on families, especially if there are 2 or 3 in the family playing.
You talk about chasing the dream of Olympic glory. The importance of women's sport and the development of women's sport, the fantastic 20x20 campaign you'll have seen last year, the Can't See, Can't Be, obviously cut short by the pandemic, but the message that has got out there is incredibly important.
Absolutely, and the media are now covering women's sport to a much higher degree. You see, used to be 20 pages of men's sport and you'd get a little
sliver,
1-inch column about a woman. And now, because the Northern Ireland football team are going to Europe next year, these cricket girls are setting a trend for the future, and also the Irish women's hockey team are going to the Olympics for the first time. So those are good role models, and of course we've got individuals like Ciara McGeehan, the middle distance runner who we've been supporting since she was 14, and Rhys McLenaghan, who is obviously is a male, but he's competing in gymnastics, and he won a Commonwealth gold and European.
And you're incredibly proud as well of the hockey players that you're supporting as part of that process. World Cup silver medalists.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. I couldn't believe the joy that they created, and now have sponsorship which they should have had years ago, and they can give time to their sport outside their chosen careers to give them an opportunity to follow their dream.
Yeah, that Irish women's hockey team, of course, featuring Elena Tice, the former Ireland women's cricket international, I think the youngest ever international debutante, back at the age of 13, played her cricket at Merrion before switching to hockey. And she'll go out to the Olympics, first time the Irish women's side of the Olympics as well.
Yeah. And we did a podcast with Katie Taylor. No,
sorry.
Katie's the boxer. No, the captain of the ladies hockey team. Oh, Mullen. Katie Mullen.
Yes, correct.
And she's the most amazing young lady who is already coaching the next generation, but leading the Ireland squad to Tokyo, and I do hope they do well out there.
Yeah, and again, one of the great things in Irish sport, one of the all-Ireland teams, just like the cricket, the hockey, I think Katie Mullen from Coleraine.
Yeah.
And we're seeing for the first time in a long time, as a boundary gets hit away into the leg side for 4, we're seeing for the first time in a long time young female cricketers from the north of Ireland coming into this side in the shape of
Cara's doing well today, isn't she?
Yeah,
Cara Murray.
Cara's taking a great catch, and Amy Hunter not in the starting 11 today, but playing both the previous 2 days. And I think historically a lot of the women's cricket based around Dublin, and maybe a little restricted, but Sport Northern Ireland and
it's coming on,
like yourselves really starting to get things moving in the right direction and get the likes of the talented young Amy Hunter and Murray into the side.
I met Amy's father, and he was saying, you know, how important it is not only to give money, but to let people know that we appreciate that they are future stars.
Yeah, and that's such a good way to look at it. How can people go about supporting the Mary Peters Trust? Can you tell us that?
Well, we have had a dearth of fundraising over the last 18 months, so it's been quite difficult for us. But hopefully we'll be able to put on some events now in the future months. But we also have a 200 club in which people can, for the price of a cup of hot chocolate or coffee, they can give £5 a month, and every month we do a draw for £350. So if they go onto our website, marypeterstrust.org, they can give their contribution, which helps these young people, and nobody misses £5 a month, do they?
No, I think that's very reasonable for the price of a coffee. So just repeat that. That's the marypeterstrust.org, www.marypeterstrust.org. You can join the 200 Club. Brilliant idea. I've got evergreen, fantastic Lady Mary Peters in the commentary box. I'm getting some messages in here. The first one says, do not let her leave the commentary box. She's a very good luck charm. She's already brought us 2 wickets. Don't let her go. So
Okay, I'll stay.
Going to keep you for another couple of overs as we get to the end of the 13th over. The score 56 for 4. Scotland trying to chase down 135. It's going to be a big task. 79 more runs to win.
In what amount of time?
Of the remaining 42 deliveries. So that's 7 overs. 6 balls in each over. So 42 deliveries left. Laura Moritz back into the attack from the Dundonald end. The importance of women's sport we've spoken about, but what about the harmonising effect here in Northern Ireland for sport? You know, the troubles that you lived through yourself.
I mean, I've just the disappointment of having a lunch on Monday or Tuesday next week for a group of people who have been trying to get a sports museum together to honour the past superstars that we've had and to inspire the next generation of women. And we've worked nearly 20 years in trying to get a building and some finance towards it, and it hasn't been possible, so we've called it a day, but we're not going away. We're a volcano just rumbling there to make it all happen, because we've had so many stars. We punch way above our weight, and
that's going to be the 5th wicket.
Oh, wow.
Your good luck charm continues in the commentary box. You are staying. We're not going to let you go anywhere, because Laura Moritz has cleaned up Priyana's Chatterjee with a full straight delivery. You're going to see the replay now on your screen. It was full, it was fast, and Moritz getting the speed gun moving straight through the defences, cannoning into middle stump. I think you've got a future in cricket commentary as well, it has to be said. Calling that absolutely perfectly. What is it about the island of Ireland, both north and south? It's a small place in the western edge of Europe that has produced so many stars. Yourself, Sonia O'Sullivan, Barry McGuigan, you think of George Best,
Joey Dunlop, all the rugby players, all, you know, I just think we're hungry. I think that very often when people go across to the UK or to South Africa or Australia, they feel a little bit inferior in the early part of their lives in those places, and they want to prove themselves. And we are as good as anybody else in the world, and we all have great ability. And I think that most Irish people play sport to enjoy it, and that's what it should be. You have to set yourself targets, but if you don't enjoy it, it's not worth playing. Yeah,
played with a big smile on their face, and that's exactly what the Irish women's team are doing here on the screen. Maybe on the verge of going 2-1 up in the series. Laura Moritz will be bowling to Abby Aitken-Drummond, who's in at number 7 for Scotland. The Scotland women's record caps holder directly. It's going to be very close. And as my co-commentator, Lady Mary Peters, nearly brings about her 4th wicket in her stint in the commentary box. The direct hit would have been out. You're going to see it here on your screen. Really good fielding from Gabby Lewis. She picked up cleanly, one hand across to her right, and if she'd been able to throw down the stumps there, it would have been out. I think Aitken-Drummond would have been cut short.
I'm sounding a bit like I went to a boxing match in Scotland once, and Jim Watt was fighting somebody, and I was saying, come on, it was Charlie Nash from Derry, and I was saying, come on Charlie, "Oh, Charlie."
It was close.
As he hit the deck.
Not quite. No, Irish women haven't hit the deck yet. Neither of Scotland. They're trying to fight back, try and find a way back into this series. They're up against it.
Oh, wow.
As that one's hit into the leg side, a really powerful shot. Going to be a boundary for good batting from Catherine Bryce. If Scotland are going to have any chance, it's going to need to be their skipper, Catherine Bryce, who's going to need to get the majority of the runs. This series, Mary, made possible, of course, with Scotland coming across on the ferry, and there's great links between all of the countries within the British Isles, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England.
Yes. And I was I met the chief executive, and I was saying to him, thank you for coming, because it is live sport that we all need. We need to enjoy it, not only to play it but to watch it, and this is opening up a whole new world after the pandemic to allow people to get together. And I know the girls are in bubbles at the moment, but they're making friendships that will last for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to look at it. 18 months it was without any international cricket, not just for the women but the men on the island of Ireland. The first international cricket here in over 600 days since September 2019. We're going to see a change in bowling, and I think it's going to be the leg spin. Cara Murray, just going to get that checked.
Oh, Cara.
Yeah, it is Cara Murray coming into the attack, and how fitting it is that one of the scholars of the Lady Mary Peters Trust is coming into the attack.
Oh!
And she is so nearly started with a wicket. In fact, she has. It's going to be stumped. Bowled in between the bat and pad. It's gone through to the keeper, Shauna Kavanagh. Take a look on your screen here, Mary. You'll see the replay of it, because the leg spinner has struck with her very first delivery. A little bit of drift into the right-hander. Batter couldn't get batting it. Shauna Kavanagh takes off the stump. She appeals.
Wow, good on Cara.
The umpire at square leg, that's Rowley Black, gets the finger up. So you've managed to bring about an absolute collapse.
I'm staying
in the Scottish batting order. Fantastic stuff.
I was a great friend of Rachel Hayhoe-Flint, and I never saw her play, but I served on a number of committees with her, and she was a great advocate of women's cricket. And
Is it about time that women's sport, and women's cricket in particular, is getting the kudos that it deserves?
Oh, I think so. I think, but most sports, like netball last year, got tremendous coverage. And I think, if people enjoy sport of any kind, they'll always want to be in on watching women's cricket. A women's sport of any kind, it's growing in popularity, and men can accept now that women are as good as men. Oh wow, that's a good shot.
Hit into the sky, and it's just going to fall safely in between some fielders. Yeah, female cricketers onto professional contracts for the first time within Ireland. That's Cricket Ireland have a new action plan, trying to get more and more girls and women playing the game. What would you say to a young girl maybe who's listening to this between the age of 8 and 15? Why would you get involved in sport?
Oh, for the joy of travel and friendship and good health. And I mean, I've had the most incredible life. I'm in my 80s now and still enjoying sport and going out for my walk every day or going to the gym. It changes your whole aspect of life because you're mixing with like-minded people, and that you're healthier in mind and body if you're doing sport.
So not just your physical health, but your mental health.
Absolutely.
Brilliant as well.
And I fear that a lot of people have been suffering. Oh, well done.
Brilliant fielding.
Yes.
I hope Laura Delaney hasn't just done herself, Rachel Delaney, done herself an injury. Really good fielding, full commitment diving, full stretch out, and she gets up safely. We'll bring you the action here again. It was a cut shot, and it looked like a certain four, but sprinting at full pace, diving full length across the outfield, scoops it back in.
Yeah.
And that saved a certain four. And just a very quick message from one of Ireland's superstars with cricketing pedigree that you'll never believe. Mary Peters is my hero, she says. That comes from Claire Shillington. And a lovely message. And she's just asking, why am I not there today? I would have done anything to meet her.
Well, we'll meet sometime. I met another Shillington in London on Sunday, and his brother Colin used to be chairman of my charity.
That's lovely. Claire Shillington, a great star of the Irish women's team. I didn't want to bring up your age. I find it remarkable, into your 80s now, looking more majestic than ever, safely vaccinated, you were telling me off air, and living a good full life at the moment.
Yes, I love life and love doing things, and some people say to me, I haven't spoken to anybody for days, and I said, do you not have a phone? Lift the phone and phone somebody else that might be lonely. I took it upon myself to do a video for Age NI, which is to get the more mature ladies doing exercises every day, and I got so many phone calls, and I made so many, because it is a long day if you're at home and locked down. I was lucky enough to have a garden and to have my charity that I was able to raise a little bit of money, but very little for. But I just think every day is important, and as you get older you realise how special every day is, and not to waste any time.
Yeah, beautiful sentiments from Lady Mary Peters. We're just going to hold on to you for one more over, okay? We will just keep you with us, because this game is still a little bit in the balance. 65 to win off 30, while Catherine Bryce is still there. Scotland absolutely still have a chance. I've got another question for you coming in on social media. This one from Ger Siggins, wanting me to ask Mary Peters, did she ever come across Clarissa Crawford, who captained Ireland at cricket and in lacrosse in the 1950s and 1960s?
Don't remember, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Perhaps it was slightly different vintage, Ger. And Laura Delaney greeted by a really good cut shot from Ailsa Lister, which is going to run away for 4. So Scotland fighting hard here. The grounds here at Stormont can be developed, and they're looking fantastic.
Absolutely amazing. I was talking to the chap in the pavilion, and he's saying about what they're developing there. I just think it's a beautiful setting, and of course Parliament buildings so close by, and the trees surrounded by trees. It's lovely. Yeah.
Haven't quite had the temperatures we'd like yet this year, but we've been lucky to have it dry for all 3 of these matches.
And my friend said to me, dress warm, you could be sitting around for a long time. And actually it's a beautiful day for cricket, isn't it?
So this is your first ever experience of any international cricket, or just international women's cricket?
No, we used to sponsor with another charity that I was involved in, men's cricket quite a lot. Yeah, been to watch many's a man's game, and love the atmosphere.
Yeah, gorgeous atmosphere here at Stormont as that one's hit down the ground into the leg side. Going to be work to do for Cara Murray in front of us, who picks up and feels really well. Just going to be one run.
I'm very impressed with the fitness of the girls. They look very, very healthy and ready to play international sport. Sometimes in the early days, when we were all amateurs, it wouldn't have been like this, and they really do look fit and healthy.
Yeah, they train like almost full-time professionals, even though they aren't full-time professionals. The athleticism has impressed you?
Very much, yes.
Laura Delaney, the Irish women's captain, with the ball in hand, leading her side so ably. As that one's hit into the sky, is it going to be yet another wicket? It is. Gabby Lewis is never going to drop that. We've had Mary Peters with us for 5.5 overs. She's brought about 5 wickets in the commentary box. She is not just our good luck charm. I don't know quite how to describe how much of a good luck charm. We might be getting her back tomorrow. Look at this, hit into the deep. It was powered by Ailsa Lister into the deep. A good catch held by Gabby Lewis.
Yes, and I think it's just a pity that because of the situation we're in these times of COVID, that we weren't able to get some schoolgirls here to watch the game and maybe be inspired to play, because obviously there's tremendous team spirit amongst the girls.
There really is. Abtatha Maksud going to be in at number 9 as Ireland women look like they might be moving towards a 2-1 lead in the series. We've got one more game tomorrow, Mary, so if Ireland can win today and tomorrow,
they can only draw. It's the worst they can
get. Worst they can. They don't want to draw. They want to make sure they take out the series a 3-1 win. Just before we bid you farewell, any closing messages at all about not just the Mary Peters Trust, but for people listening all the way around the world?
Just Northern Ireland is in such a wonderful place at the moment, and I just feel so proud to call myself an Ulster woman, and these Irish players will be proud to say they are Irish, and just enjoy your sport wherever you are in the world. Sport makes you really special.
Well, I tell you who else is really special. That's you. I can't thank you enough for joining us in the commentary box. I'm going to bid you farewell.
Thank you
it's
so
Lady
much.
Mary Peters.
I can't even give you a hug.
I wish I could, but we'll stay socially distanced. We'll have an elbow bump to bid farewell. We are so lucky to have had the thoughts of the iconic Lady Mary Peters, gold medalist all the way back in 1972, the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. And hard not to feel a little emotional having had that experience, I'm not going to lie. Isabel Joyce joins me in the commentary box.
Yeah, what a character. And the Irish girls will want her back after that performance. Wrote about a few wickets, but brilliant to hear her thoughts and what a role model she is for not just women but also men across Ireland. Such a great athlete. Still looks like an athlete. I'm sure she does a lot of
I couldn't quite
exercise.
believe when I was doing my research she's into her 80s now, and famously winning that gold medal back in 72. But the thing I found really interesting, talking about her journey through, all of the different Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games she went to and came so close, it almost made it all the more special to win that gold medal at the age of 33.
Yeah, and brilliant to see that she's still giving back to the game, still so interested in women's sport. That's what we need. We need people to stay in the game. What a stop from Laura Delaney, an extra cover. She's fielded out of her skin this series, done a lot of work on that diving, but great to hear that Lady Peters is appreciative of the athleticism on show out here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Really taken by the standard and the quality of cricket on display. Good luck charm for this Irish women's side now. I think she's going to be a permanent fan for the future.
Yeah, well, cricket does just get into you, doesn't it? Gets into your soul. It's a heartbreaking game at times, but no heartbreak for Ireland today. Cara Murray's done really well since she's come on. Leg spinner against leg spinner here.
Yeah, and really fitting as well that Cara Murray, one of the two recipients of that Mary Peters Trust bursary in the side. Cara Murray in the team, Amy Hunter not in the starting 11 today. But back to the action, Ireland women very much on the edge, the verge, closing out a victory, and that one maybe so nearly another chance, just going through to Shauna Kavanagh, the way she's holding her body position. Was that a misstumping maybe? Possibly,
or she's just tough on herself, wants to take everything. It doesn't look tidy when you don't take it behind the stumps. She's got tough competition for best keeper in the tournament there. Sarah Bryce, so impressive. It's a top edge from Chatterjee. Cara Murray goes across and takes the cotton bowled. What a catch that is. Difficult to change direction as a bowler into the leg side and take the wicket, but she claims another one.
Really good stuff from Cara Murray, and good reward. She's outthought her leg spinning rival Abtatha Maqsood. Maqsood was looking for the slog sweep but could only find the top edge, and really good ground across to her right. She wanted to throw it up in the air in celebration, but ended up being a little more restrained. The fist bumps, the wrist bumps for the Irish women. They are closing out a big win here.
Yeah, really imperious performance, isn't it? There's just no kinks in this Ireland bowling lineup. No let up from them. Maqsood didn't look comfortable at all, did she? Eventually just having a wild swipe and only managing to take the top edge. So that closes out the 17th, 3 overs left, and you'd have to say Ireland well on top. Over 50 runs required in just 3 overs for the Wildcats, and Catherine Fraser will face up as they switched ends, and Lara Moritz will be bowling from the Dundonald end. Too quick right through.
I think, Izzy, the biggest disappointment for the Scotland setup will be the lack of support for Catherine Bryce here. She's batted right the way through. They haven't given the kind of support, not just in terms of runs, but even in terms of getting the strike across to Bryce, and no real show of support from any of the batters.
Once again, too quick. A bit of a hopeful appeal, much too high, you'd have to think. Easy decision for umpire Rowley Black. Yeah, well, I think one of the things that Scotland will be surprised by this series is the standard of the fielding from Ireland. Not that we haven't had a good fielding team up until now, but it's never been as good a standard as this, so there aren't easy singles to be had. All the fielders backing up the bowlers, and I think that's been a huge difference that I've seen since the disappointing qualifiers in Scotland a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they look a vibrant, young, energetic side, full of hope for the future. Really well led by Laura Delaney and head coach Ed Joyce. Driven into the offside, just going to be a single. Just a smattering of spectators here, but you'd like to think tomorrow, the 4th T20I, 11 a.m. start, an earlier start, remember. Come on down, get involved with us here at Stormont. The series will be on the line, and most likely it'll either be Ireland lifting that trophy tomorrow, or we'll have a shared series. So Ireland, the way they've bounced back from that defeat in game one has been really impressive.
Well, it's a bit of a cliche, but they say you have to lose one to win one. So that loss on Monday from Ireland, it was a tough one. It was really a harrowing defeat almost, and you have to think that was a bit of a hangover from their last game just 20 months ago. Showing real character to bounce back.
Can you take bad form forward 20 months on?
You can, absolutely. And cricket probably is the only sport, because end up out in the middle and you just go, you're transported straight back to the last time that you messed up or you were in that position and things didn't go well. That's the toughest thing about cricket, isn't it? The mental side. But great mental strength being shown by the Ireland women's team.
Thuds into the gloves, good pace on show from Laura Moritz, and I think probably the thing that will please everyone the most involved with this Irish women's setup, whether it be the support staff, the coaching staff, the players themselves, will be the development and the quality of development that we've seen in such a short period of time. Look at the pace that Moritz and Prendergast have bowled with. Look at the development in the batting of Shauna Kavanagh. Really good stuff.
Yeah, well, that's one of the frustrating things about women's sport in Ireland. There's so much talent there, but just hasn't had the support up until recently, and there's such a huge amount of improvement ready to be made. If we can get the sponsors in, get the visibility out there, great to have this live streaming, brilliant to have the visibility of these players. We need more and more girls playing, because we've plenty of brilliant athletes, unfortunately a lot of them in Gaelic football and camogie, so we don't get to see them on the international stage.
Yeah, that's what cricket offers, isn't it? It's that opportunity to represent internationally, as we see Laura Moritz just fumble one and miss field. They'll get back for two. Gaelic sports, absolute bastion of the country and played in great numbers all around the world, but you can't really, outside of the international rules series, go on and represent your country internationally. More about representing your parish or your county. You get involved in cricket, you've got the chance not just to play for Ireland, travel all over the world. Did you ever do a count on how many countries you got to, Isabel, to play cricket in?
No, I never did. Most of them is the answer that play at the top level, but plenty that I haven't gone to. I'd love to go to Nepal, but I'm not sure that they have a women's team to be playing. I should have said that I'm not sure they had a women's team that would have been playing in global tournaments when I was playing. So
domestic women's cricket there for the first time this year, really developing in quality as Murray is pumped into the deep. A full toss, just slightly over pitched. These late runs are going to be in vain for Scotland. They're going to come up short today, go 2-1 down in the series most likely, and just a little bit too much flight this time from Murray.
Yeah, well, one of the things that they can take out of today is if these two players can get some kind of form going into match 4 tomorrow. Catherine Bryce is just starting to look like she's finding form. She'll be taking this nearly as a training session for tomorrow. She knows this game is almost gone. Tomorrow is really important for them, for the Scottish women's team. They want to tie the series tomorrow. She'll want to put in a big performance. So getting herself into form will be not all in vain for Sarah Bryce, and a really good experience as well for Catherine Fraser. Well bowled by Murray. Good comeback from her, much better length.
And good turn on offer for the leg spinner.
That's well down the ground, but caught. The field is set for that shot. 3 wickets now for Cara Murray. She's set her up there, Catherine Fraser. We looked for the boundary. Good catch from Rebecca Stokel in the deep.
Yeah, she looked to hold on to that really comfortably, and 3 wickets, well deserved for Cara Murray. Down the track, outside the off stump, Catherine Fraser looking to heave it into the deep. Takes the catch, Stokel pops it up and a big smile. Lovely scenes of celebration. And just think that we might have an injury for someone in the Scottish side. I'm going to check as to who that is, because it looks to me like we're not going to have the number 11 come to the crease, and the sides are going to shake hands and call it a day at that. So we'll find out who that is, who has been unable to bat. But that means that Ireland, with I think Samantha Hago it is, not able to bat, they will go 2-1 up in the series. We weren't quite expecting that end. We thought there was one more wicket to come. but they are going to run out comfortable winners by 41 runs. Really impressive turnaround in form this from Ireland. They were beaten out of sight, even though it was only an 11-run defeat. It was a devastating loss. They've turned that the whole way around, and Ireland women go 2-1 up.
Yeah, and there'll be no one more pleased with that turnaround than the team psychologist Anne-Marie Kennedy. Really, really brilliant psychologist that Cricket Ireland have made available to the women's team. As we said, the mental side of the game, so tough, and having her support is invaluable to the Irish team.
Yeah, and that is indeed, you're correct. Samantha Hago absent hurt. We're going to check on her well-being. We might need to bring you that news in the morning, but she will not bat, has not batted, and that is the game going with it. And we're hearing great cheers across to her right from Lady Mary Peters, who is, I think, turning into a lifelong cricket fan coming up. She's brought certainly good luck to the Irish team today. They have gone 2-1 up in the series. We were so privileged to hear from her. A magnificent occasion, and just a special mention for Hanley Energy as well. They are the Irish women's team sponsor, making a long-term commitment to the game here. Really welcome news, committing for a further 2 years, and they have signed up, and their commitment so essential to helping grow the women's game here.
Yeah, well, it's one of the areas that Cricket Ireland have mentioned in that document I mentioned earlier, that they're looking for more sponsors. They think they're going to be able to attract those through things like we're seeing today, the live stream, much more exposure for the women's team. That support was very welcome from Hanley Energy. So Ireland 2-1 up in the Celtic International T20 Challenge. A great all-round performance from the girls in green.
Yeah, I'll bid Isabel Joyce a farewell. She's going to have to scamper over quickly, is she, for the player of the match? Oh, Andrew Blair White's going to do that. I'm wrong on that front. Let's take a look at the cards then. So Shauna Kavanagh, 37 for her, the top scorer. Only disappointment perhaps, Isabel, we spoke about it a bit earlier, those starts that weren't converted by Stokel, Lewis, Delaney, Prendergast.
Yeah, just a little bit of inexperience. And when I say inexperience, I mean they haven't batted for 20 months. Not that they haven't played enough games in their careers. Just one tempo a little bit from that top order. Once they got going, they went nearly too much, and a lot of stumpings from that star behind the stumps, Sarah Bryce.
Yeah, we're not going to give away who the player of the match is, but a really lovely moment in the outfield you won't have seen, because I think the team manager going to take the player of the match away from the Irish huddle, and she got a rousing ovation from her teammates. A few little whoops and cheers, great joy in the team. Let's take a look at the Scottish bowling figures. Certainly the standout for me was Tatha Maksud with her leg breaks, but 2 wickets as well for Fraser McCall, and a wicket for their leading wicket taker of all time, that's McGill. Catherine Bryce going wicketless, but the high total, Isabel, again just too much for Scotland women to ever look like threatening to chase down.
Yeah, Catherine Bryce finally looking to find some form today. She looked good in the second 10 overs, but it was too much for her to do alone. Katie McGill and Bryce, when they were together, looked like they were the only chance for Scotland women to get up to the total, but it's everyone after that that's causing the trouble. There's just nobody after McGill who could get into double figures.
Yeah, 3 wickets for Cara Murray, but I think that spell at the top from Orla Prendergast is the thing that's going to live long in the memory, announcing herself onto the world stage. Everyone involved in Irish cricket's known about her talent for a long time, but with the loss of Kim Garth down to Australia, Ireland may have found a tailor-made replacement in the form of the Pembroke all-rounder Orla Prendergast, really turning heads with a sharp spell of fast bowling. 3 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 7. Good stuff from the leg spin and off spin of Leah Paul and Cara Murray. Wickets for them, and wickets too for Lara Moritz, who bowled really well for 1 for 17.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're seeing in this series is how well backed up that opening pair are. There've always been good opening bowlers in the Irish team in the past. Kim Garth, as you mentioned, we had Lucy O'Reilly, who used to bowl good pace and swing. Plenty of good bowlers who've come through, but we haven't seen a team performance like this in a long time. No bowler letting the pressure go in the Ireland lineup.
So the third of 4 T20Is is in the can. The first game, Scotland women winning by 11 runs, and the Irish women less than 24 hours later able to turn it around with a convincing performance, winning by 61 runs yesterday, and they've backed it up to go 2-1 up in the series with a 41 run victory today. And all that's left for us, I'm going to bid you farewell from Isabel Joyce and from me, Andrew Leonard. Let's get over to Andrew Blair White and find out who that player of the match is.
And welcome to the Player of the Match presentation for the Celtic International T20 Challenge Game 3 between Ireland and Scotland. Ireland coming out on top today by 41 runs, and plenty of options for the Player of the Match today. Shauna Kavanagh with her 37, Catherine Bryce with 45 not out for Scotland, and also Cara Murray with 3 for 18 for Ireland. But the Player of the Match goes to Orla Prendergast for her 2 for 7 from 3 overs, and Orla, must have been great to get another big win for Ireland on the board today.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I think the first game was a bit of a knockback and we were all obviously awfully disappointed, and to bounce back twice in a row now with really comprehensive wins has been excellent for all of us.
And 2 for 7 from 3 overs, 5 wickets in the series so far. You must be very happy with how you've been bowling.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Super Series has left us all with a lot of options to prepare, and yeah, I think I've just been really happy with how I've been bowling.
And you've been opening the bowling with Ava Canning. You seem to be getting on very well. Probably different types of bowlers, but you seem to complement each other quite well.
Yeah, we obviously both swing it in a lot, but very different paces, and Ava's done absolutely brilliant coming in. Her first couple of games, she's done so well. So yeah, hopefully we can continue on as well as that.
And your aspirations for tomorrow's game, obviously, to try and get that series victory.
Yeah, 100%. Come back even stronger. We still have things we want to work on and improve, and to finish the series 3-1 definitely is our goal.
Thank you to Orla, and thank you to all of you that have been watching us throughout the day. Some fantastic figures on the live stream today, so really hope you have enjoyed it. It's been a HBV Studios production in conjunction with Cricket Ireland, and of course make sure to get back in touch with us tomorrow for an earlier start, an 11 a.m. start for the final game of the Celtic International T20 Challenge Series, and hopefully a victory for the Ireland women.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, all.